rising, mofos. What's up? Oh, that's the wrong one. Hold on. Haha. What's up, everybody? It's Friday. Welcome back to the Coffee Talk with Karen B. Today is a Friday edition. No, it's not Monday. Don't freak out. Yeah. What's going on? Decided to go live today, have a little extra coffee talk. I think I like doing a Friday every now and then. It's fun. What's up to all my people in the chats? Mental Pancakes, Effie Nation, Mark Shuri, Stephanie, Dean HD, Unindoctrinated, Benny Boy, Rasta Bear, Melodome, what's up? Cheers all, and I hope everyone is feeling well on this fine Friday. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sue Finelli, good to see you. Rose 777, Thunder Chicken, Alpine Endeavor. Oh yeah, it's Friday. Thought I slept through the weekend. Yeah. That's funny. Anyway, that was YouTube chat. Over here on the Rockfin chat, I see Mark Wantraba, Ashley Knopp, 3B, Big Buddy Bob. Cheers. Cheers. Yes, we are live on Rockfin, YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. I think that's it. There might be one other place, but who cares? It doesn't matter. Nobody watches there anyway. So, let me... hold on. I was working on something, and let me close it and save it so it doesn't lag down my stream. Anyway, sorry. Excuse me. Anyway, I've been watching some stuff this week and felt like it might be a good subject of discussion, given everything that's been going on here lately in our fine flat realm. So anyway, with the whole financial reset that seems to be going on, well, not seems to be, it's going on. Like, this is pretty major, what's going on here. And it's been a long time coming. You know, if anybody who's been here for any number of years knows that this whole financial bubble, this unsustainable economic beast system that has been set up, that we've all been suckered into, is just not, it's failing basically, and it's being propped up right now by the banks. And anyway, I found some old videos, and I don't know if any of you have heard of let me find her, this woman. I'm gonna share screen. This woman, her name is Karen Hudez. Karen Hudez. Anyway, you know, before I got into Flat Earth, I was... Can you guys hear the beans grinding? Like, is that something you guys can hear? Because I hear it. Yeah, you guys can hear it. I can see it moving the sound thing. So anyway, before I got into Flat Earth, I was very much into looking up, you know, looking into the deception of all the other places where eventually it leads you to Flat Earth if you keep going, you know, far enough down those rabbit holes of truth. But where it really started for me was financial government corruption, right? Government corruption is like the most blatant thing. It's, you know, you can't help but see it once you start asking any sort of logical questions. Even if you don't wake up to flat Earth, I mean, you've got to see, you know, how everything is just set up against you when the government should be working for us, right? It's supposed to be by the people, for the people, and it's become this like weird, you know, tyrannical fucking just beast, right? This uncontrollable beast. And almost, you know, and it's kind of convoluted how it works, and a lot of people don't want to put, you know, the effort in to, you know, understand what's happening to us, or what has been happening to us for a very long time. I mean, this woman, I don't know if you guys have heard of her, but she is the beans are grinding. Yes, the beans are grinding. This woman was worked for the World Bank. She was a lawyer in the World Bank, and she was a whistleblower. Now, she recently died. I wish I'd have heard of her earlier, and I can't believe, after like looking into all the stuff I did for this and all the digging I did into these weird depths of like legal deception and stuff, that I hadn't come across this woman before. And it really blew my mind. So here's the thing. She was a whistleblower on the banks, what the banks are doing and how things are set up, for many, many years. She even has a YouTube channel. It's still there, 43,000 subs, but her views are pathetic for the information that she has. I mean, it just goes to show you that, you know, stuff like this, it's not a very popular subject matter. I mean, she's got decent views, but 38,000, 28,000, you know, 16,000, waking up to our new reality, you know, fencing with the black nobility. And this woman, she legitimately worked in the World Bank, because check this out. The World Bank even has a statement on their website. So I'm going to show it to you. Here's the statement. It's the official statement on the website of the World Bank. Statement on former staff member Karen Hudez. An individual named Karen Hudez. Let me see if I can zoom in on this preview. All right. An individual named Karen Hudez has been issuing correspondence and arranging meetings in the name of the World Bank. In some communications, Ms. Hudez has presented herself as the World Bank's acting general counsel. Karen Hudez has not been employed by the World Bank since 2007 and is in no capacity authorized to represent any arm of the World Bank Group. Any claims otherwise by Ms. Hudez or her proxies are false and should not be viewed as credible. I just find it funny that they even have to address it. This is dated July 18th, 2014. Okay, because she had been blowing the whistle on them for many years. So I thought it would be cool to watch an interview she did and possibly look at some of the other stuff she did, because she really, really outlines how things have been set up right under our noses, you know. And she also, the cool thing I liked about listening to her too is that she also talks about solutions, right? She tells people what's going on, but she's like, it's kind of crazy. She does it with a, you know, at the end she does it with a good attitude. She's like, but we know how to do it. There's a way out of it. You just have to we have to take back our country, and we have to take back control of this government that is basically out of control. Right? Shout out to Shelly for not taking the COVID test to flat smack. Yeah. Shelly, if you want to call in, actually, I would be interested to hear that story from you. Would you be willing to call us? Let me open my phone lines and tell us what happened with that nonsense. 1 second.
Welcome to the conference center. You are a host.
Anyway, there we go. My phones are open. 888 or 848. Why do I keep saying 888? 848-222-2480. It would be cool if you could call and tell us the story. Mark broke it down a little bit. Wow, chat's going fast, y'all. Headline, anti-vaxxer and flat earth believer Karen B calls for a government insurrection. Stop trying to get me in trouble, Dave. DRTRH, have you tried to get on the Bruniverse? It's bound to happen sooner or later. I don't know if Jim Brewer's ready to, like, go full on. I mean, he might be close, but it just seemed like he was very, when in his interview, even though it was a really good show that he did with Conspiracy Music Guru, don't you guys feel like it was like, he was a little bit apologetic about, he's like, we're just talking. It's not real. Don't take it so serious. You know? But I get it. I get it. Normies get so fucking offended when you start talking about flat earth. Triggered. I'm the one that got CMG connected. Oh, okay. Anyway, Shelly, why don't you call us and let us know what happened with the whatchamacallit? Can you call? Jim? Who is Jim? Oh, Jim Brewer. Hey, Shelly called. Right on. Good rising, Shelly. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So what's up? What happened with these kooky MTV people?
Well, they're still trying very hard to get me to meet with them, that's for sure. They want to make it happen. I just can't believe this COVID test thing is going to be the deal breaker. It just totally sucks, I'm just telling you, because they really want to make it happen. I can't tell you how many phone calls and texting since this guy, sent you that email that I've had between three producers. That Quest guy that sent you the original email, him and I become really good friends. He wants to hang out with us. He's like, man, you guys sound like a bunch of cool people. We text all the time. I'm just like going, gosh, guys, come on. We live in Florida. It's an open state. We're going to be at a park somewhere. This is so stupid. So that's still where we're at. I mean, the thing is, they're like, don't pass up a chance to spread truth. This is the opportunity. They really want to get this out there on the show and start spreading some truth about flat Earth and about just everything. It's just, I'm so frustrated. So,
yeah.
I don't know. That's where we're at with.
Yeah, that's crazy. So who's requiring the COVID test? Is it Mason TV that wants them to do it?
Yeah, the Viacom, who owns MTV, that is just their rules right now. I mean, through the COVID thing, that's Yeah, it's just that's them. They're the ones who, because the guys I talk to, they're not. None of them are COVID. They're not. They've not taken the vaccines. They all have to take the test all the time. So they're definitely against the test, against the COVID vaccine. So it's just part of what Viacom, who owns MTV, it's their requirement. So I'm like, well, I mean, if he and here's Mikey, the Situation, that's the guy, and Vinny and Frankie, is it Frankie, his friend? They're all three really huge people in the Jersey Shores community that want to meet with us. I said, shoot, just give him my number. We'll just meet him on don't have to have MTV. If he really wants to know about Flat Earth, just give him my number. We'll just meet him and talk with him. He can come hang out with us,
Right.
But I don't, that's where we're at. He's literally, they have a place already picked out here in Florida over in Celebration. He's like, it's going to be next Friday or Saturday. He's still thinking that, that we're going to come and make this happen. And I'm just like going, man, we got to do something. I just don't know what to do. I'm almost willing to take the test just because, honestly, I'm going to Africa. I know. I'm like,
don't do it.
I know. I'm like, I know. It's just, it sucks. It really sucks. I'm just so mad.
Well, that's that big corporation forcing you guys to comply. And those tests you know what those tests are? Those tests are DNA collection. They're collecting people's DNA. I mean, it says right in the test, this collects DNA.
Yeah, there's got to be something more to those tests than just testing for something that doesn't exist, or COVID's been around forever,
right?
So whatever.
Collecting DNA for people who take their mRNA. I mean, come on. Let's not pretend like they don't have nefarious things going on. I mean, I'm all about flat smacking and getting the word out, but there's got to be, you guys got to watch out for yourselves first. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I told them, I said, once you guys, once you guys release your, your rules here, I said, we'd be more than glad to meet with you. Definitely. I had like at least 10 people ready to go. People were all ready to go. Let's go. They were ready. And he waited. He waited till, I had like agreed to do it. And then he waited to spring that deal breaker on me. And I'm like going, what? I'm like, you're kidding, right? And he goes, well, I figured we wouldn't get this far. I figured you guys wouldn't even agree to do an interview. So I just didn't tell you because I figured you guys wouldn't do it. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I said, it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyway.
Screw that corporation trying to, manipulate you guys into taking that stupid crap.
Yeah. It's just crazy. So, like I told him, I said, the one guy, Quest, I think him and I will be friends. Him and I definitely connected. And, like I told him, I said, hey, give Mike my number. Reach out. I'll reach out to him. He wants to reach out to some people. We can do this. If he wants to know truth, we don't need to be on. MTV can come at a later time if you want to. Once you guys take away your regulations or whatever, then we can do something then. But hey, any one of us is willing to talk with them.
It depends, though. If those people are under contract with MTV and Viacom, they probably aren't even allowed to produce things that aren't under that badge right now. You know what I'm saying? That's how controlling these corporations are. They'll sign contracts with, I was listening to a woman talking about how somebody offered her a contract, to do something, and they were like, oh, and by the way, everything you've done the past 3 years, we want 50% of what you did before this. They are fucking evil. You know what I'm saying? So,
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they probably are under contract to where they can't even do anything unless it's under that, they can't even release anything. Or if they recorded something, wouldn't be able to release it until after their contract was up. I mean, that's just me guessing.
Well, we don't even need to record nothing. we can just talk. I mean, he just wants
Right.
to talk to people and learn about truth and just reach out to us, just as a friend to a friend.
Right?
So,
Right? If you guys really want to know about Flat Earth, we'll talk to you offline. Email us.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what I told Quest. That's what I told the guy Quest. So we'll see. Him and I are going to be friends. I can definitely feel that. So, we'll see what happens and take it from there. If that's my way in, then maybe I'll use Quest, We'll
Sure.
see. But yeah. But I got their numbers. I got their emails and all their cell phone numbers. So, hey, I'll keep in touch with them for sure. And when they're ready, we'll be ready.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, hopefully they can work it out. I don't really, if it's the corporation pushing it, I don't have a lot of faith, but it would be cool.
Yeah, no, it's the corporation. And they wouldn't let us film anything anyway. They said we could take pictures and stuff, but absolutely we couldn't do any recording because they'd be afraid that anything got released before the actual airing of the episode. I
Right.
get it, but at the same time, I'm like, but we know how you guys are MTV. We know how you guys are.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
I said we want to protect ourselves too, But I get it. It's like, well, whatever, But
I mean, if you think about it, MTV was like the progenitor of reality television. They started that whole BS, right? And then they figured out they could use their producers to manipulate things that went on in the show, and then it became fake reality TV, and that's all it's ever been ever since then. So
yeah. I used to be the biggest reality TV there was. I used to watch Jersey Shore when Snooki and them were just babies when they first came on the show. I know every one of these people that I was going to be meeting with. Every one of them, I watched them since they were young. I mean, that was a long time ago, but yeah, I used to watch it.
yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely into it all. So, yeah. Well, that's where we're at. I'll keep you guys posted.
All right. And also you have your meetup this weekend, right? Your April 1st, New Year's FE meetup going on at your place this weekend, right?
Yeah, well, the joke's on everybody. It's April Fool's, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, yes. Yes, I'm having it. Yeah, I got people coming in today, arriving today already, and they'll be putting their tents up and camping out. So it's going to be great. I have Nick. He came to Flattoberfest. I'm not sure if you know who he is, but he does the natural law stuff, and he really is very knowledgeable. So we're going to have a roundtable natural law discussion group around 1 tomorrow. And then he's going to be our chef for the day, and he's fixing all, scratch and all really good food. And then we'll have a big bonfire at the end of the evening. So it's going to be great. I'm hoping to have between 20 and 30. We'll see.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time.
Heck yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Good for you guys.
Yeah. You guys ever come down this way, you need to let me know and we'll plan one.
Heck yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I know Brian's supposed to be coming down, so when he comes down, I'll have to bring everybody up to Daytona or whatever, wherever he's going to have his little meetup at. We'll make it happen.
Yeah. All right. That's so great, Shelly.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for calling, and have a wonderful, wonderful meetup this weekend. I know you guys are going to have a blast because you guys, all the people around here are awesome. Flat Earthers are awesome. So cool. Have fun.
Yay. All right. Thanks for spreading the word. All right. I'll let you guys know how it goes.
All right. Awesome. Take care, Shelly.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. I can't believe that they're trying to make him take a test, a COVID test, to participate in their corporate bullshit. Let me just tell you right now, any of you corporate people watching, you want to try to manipulate flat earthers to comply to your ridiculous bullshit? Ain't happening. Ain't happening. Okay? It's not happening. No way. So David, I saw in the chat, you were saying that that trolls are trying to call the restaurant. Sad little trolls are calling the restaurant where Lowry and I are having the meetup in Connecticut, and we're trying to blow it up, saying we are 9/11 deniers and flat earth believers, and that we're arguing to attack their customers with a lot of our theories. What they don't realize is the manager and owner are also awake and know the truth. It's so awesome. Great. I think that's funny. So when they call them up, they're like, sweet, that's what we want. That's so funny. Too bad we can't interview the suddenly dead, right? Yeah, you can't, and they won't let them record. So that's two strikes. They want them to take a COVID test, and then they won't let them record. That's 2 strikes. Hey, Dr. Log, good to see you, sir. Flat Earth Dude, hey. Artes Liberalis, good to see you. Rethink Inc., Nachiketa, Jenny G, lots of people showing up in chat. Good to see you guys. You think dreams have meanings, but you don't know how to interpret them? I was looking up dream meanings. There's like a dream dictionary or something online that I found, and it's like just pages and pages, all alphabetical, of like, you know, you type, you just look for what it is you're trying, that you dreamt about, or the, you know, something in there, and then it tells you what it means. You know, it could not be 100% accurate, but it kind of was interesting because my son was telling me about one of his dreams, and then I looked it up in that dream dictionary thing because he was like, what does that mean? And it actually was it seemed like it might be kind of relevant, you know. Ariel Truth Seeker, hello. Yeah. F the corporation media. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I used to buy all the Dream Dictionary books, but they all have a different take. I either know why I dreamt something or it's a mystery, about half and half, yeah. You know, those dream dictionaries, they may not be always accurate, but they actually are pretty good about giving you, you know, a basic idea. It could kind of help, you know, trigger a thought that might be even more relevant to your situation. You know, sort of like a personal thing you have to think about. Okay, so I updated the meetup page for Stamford, Connecticut. Stamford CT, okay, FE meetup, April 29th, 2023, Saturday, Rico's Thin Crust Pizza in Stamford, Connecticut. And I changed your video. Boom. So there you go. There's a meetup going on at the end of the month. St. Petersburg, Florida is having a meetup today, or tomorrow. Not today, tomorrow. This is another April 1st meetup, 1 to 4 p.m. in St. Petersburg, Florida. And then Oklahoma at Lake Eufaula State Park. There will be a meetup April 22nd, and Peanut Gallery will be there. Tucson Hikes. Did this one happen already? No, this is also a April 1st thing at Mount Wrighton Summit. So if you live in Arizona and you're an outdoorsy type person, there's an outdoor 11-mile hike all day long, New Year's Day hike. That actually sounds kind of fun, but tiring at the same time. So there's that. And then in June, there will be Jam in the Plain in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So yeah. Oh, and Bellevue, Washington, because Ted is going to be stopping over there in Washington in June for a couple days. And so there's going to be a meetup in Washington. FE Meetup Sunday, June 11th, 2023. Mustard Seed Grill and Pub. And I have the Google Maps link there. 5 p.m. to midnight. Good times. I will not be there, but Ted will be. All right. Dreams that seem so real. Yeah. To be honest, I did not even know there was something like a dream dictionary. Yeah. Wouldn't YouTube be considered corporate media? Yeah. And they censor. They censor all the time. Actually, you know how, if you were, I don't know if you watched, but last Tuesday, this Tuesday that just passed was the 400th episode of Strange World. And we were talking, Mark was asking people about what their favorite episode of Strange World was. And a lot of people were pointing back to the EMT episode, which was episode 284, which was the very first episode of 2021 when Mark had scheduled this interview with a New York EMT. And the guy called and I went off. I was talking about viruses and COVIDs and, all the stuff that you're not supposed to say. And that episode is not on my channel anymore. And everybody's like, where's that episode? Where is it? And I had to go give everybody a link to Odyssey because YouTube removed that. There's a lot of episodes. I have a lot of, things that have been deleted off my channel over the past few years. Because, yes, YouTube is a corporate, and they are influenced by the government. The government pressures them to censor things, and they do it. I mean, they all admit it. It's coming out now with the Twitter files, and it's not just Twitter, right? It's Facebook, it's YouTube, it's Meta, Instagram, all those things. They're all being pressured to censor certain things by the government. That's government restricting free speech, and that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? This is why I like, having the platform of Rockfin, because they haven't censored me at all yet. I'm also streaming on Rumble. Rumble has not censored me yet. Not that they ever would. But, oh, Tom Nixon, thank you for the tip on Rockfin. Cheers. Cheers. So, that's what's been going on. I mean, it's all coming out now. It's not even a secret. We know what they're doing. This country has become a fascist shithole. And really what needs to happen is the people need to start saying, taking the power back. And I don't mean violently. You don't have to do it violently. You just have to understand what is going on, what has happened to this country, and then you'll know we can then learn how to undo it. Right? Which was what I was going to start talking about this woman for today. This Karen Hudez woman who worked at the World Bank, and she's got a whole YouTube channel archive where she had been talking about this for years and years. And I wish I'd known about her sooner, because now I just want to go back and I want to start at the beginning and I want to binge watch all of her stuff, right? Because this is 8 years ago. Whistleblower on the Chris Ponti show. I was watching this one this morning. The Global Currency Reset. This is a 7-year-old video with only 135,000 views. And it's kind of it looks like a public access interview show. This guy, I don't know if his Chris Ponti is public access or something. But, it's not high budget. And she even says, she's you'll never see anything that I'm telling you in the mainstream media. They won't talk about it. She's I've got people that hear what I say, but most people don't. And look at this, 135,000 views of something like that. Anyways, I was watching it, and she's, talking about a lot of interesting stuff, talking about things that, some stuff that I knew about and stuff that I didn't, and I think it's really important. This is the type of, I'm not a big history buff. You won't see me, doing history, what you think of in like the typical terms of it, but this type of stuff, like how we got here. And this woman, her whole channel is basically outlining all of it, how it went, how it happened, and she explains it very well. And so I would highly recommend that you people, after this, go to this channel, bookmark it, and maybe start watching some of her videos and listening to how she explains like what has happened, how these banksters took control over the government, because that's basically what she's talking about, how the banks are controlling everything. All of 100% of our tax dollars do not go to anything that has to do with building the infrastructure of this country. Zero. And she says, she outlines it. She's like, all of it goes to these banks, these offshore banksters, right? So the tax that we pay, which is illegal, unconstitutional, doesn't even pay for things in this country. It pays for stuff. It goes to the banksters. It makes the banksters rich. Oh, give the link to her channel. Yes, here we go. Let me put it in here. There you go. I'll put it over here on Rockfin as well. I'm almost tempted to just start, to download everything off her channel, because I feel like at this point it might even get deleted, because like I said, she passed away just this past October, right around Flytoberfest, like a week after she passed away. And I was watching another video where they think that she was murdered because she'd been whistleblowing, and they're like, okay, well now it's to the point where, they're trying to really do the final stages of the global currency reset. And, and they've got this woman here who did work for the World Banks, knows it very intimately what was going on, and has been whistleblowing on them for so long. Of course, nobody's watching her videos. 6,000 views, 7,000 views, 2,000 views. It's like, she's not getting the views that she should have been getting, considering the information that she's got. Hold on. I can hear some alarms going off. I have to turn off. So, yes, the banksters are the real mobsters, Ashley, exactly. They gave her a booster. She tried. Yeah, but... yeah, definitely. How did she die? Let's see. I think I... look at... oh, I think I already had that open. How did... welcome to secured creditor. How did... I think it was this video. How did Karen Hughes, whistleblower of the World Bank, died? I believe for speaking against the Federal Reserve back in October 27, 2022. I believe she was murdered. She worked for the World Bank for many years, trying to spread the truth that the USA is run by a federal cartel that uses drug money to support the country, as she speaks about it here. And this interview is about 20 minutes long. This was a very good, compact interview that gives a basic breakdown of what's going on. We should watch that and talk about it. She was such a powerful force and an intelligent woman trying to awaken humanity about the truth of how the banks and Jesuits were responsible for Abraham Lincoln's death. She explains in the video, in 1871, the U.S. Constitution was changed and they created a new constitution, which she called the Secret Constitution, which benefited the bankers and the Federal Reserve. Very powerful information. Please watch. This is so sad. Let me see. How long is this?
The best radio station in the world.
God. Funny as hell, and it's just...
Oh, that's like an hour long. I'm not gonna watch it. But I don't know how she died. Let me see if I can find what it says. Attorney and World Bank whistleblower visited the World Bank in Washington, D.C. and was handcuffed, detained, and finally cited and scheduled to appear before Eric Holder's U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington on 5/30/13 for unlawful entry. Ms. Hughes has been subjected to horrifying attacks by her former master, including invasion of her medical privacy, unlawful termination, and barring orders. Despite these attacks, she remains vigilant in her efforts to correct the global monetary systems, which she asserts is on the verge of collapse. What initially appear to be obscure issues of international finance, moreover, have a potential to sever ties between us and our NATO allies and weaken the national security of the United States. The stakes involved are therefore extremely high for every American citizen. Doesn't really talk about how she died. Let me see if I can find it. Let me do a search instead of saying whistleblower. Karen Hudez, 73, passed away October 27th, 2022, Ocean Pines, Maryland. And here it talks about she worked at the U.S. Export-Import Bank from 1980 to 85, later as a senior counsel for the World Bank, where she was employed for 21 years, from 1986 to 2007, which is what it said on the World Bank website, their statement, where she had been employed there until 2007. She established the Non-Governmental Organization Committee of the International Law Section of the American Bar Association and the Committee on Multilateralism and the Accountability of International Organizations of the American Branch of the International Law Association. Holy shit, is that a mouthful. Her work led to publications in the USA, England, France, Germany, Holland, Jordan, and Yemen. Survived by her husband, Barry Spergel, 2 daughters. Doesn't really say. Doesn't really say how she passed away. So she was old, so it's not really, for certain that she was murdered. That woman was saying she was, but I don't know. Although, of course, she was a whistleblower, so it would make sense. American Heart Association. None of it says. It just says she passed on the 27th. I don't know. I'm not saying. But it won't say how she died. No, I can't find anything that says how she died. It's not as if it's... I know. Nathan who, Brian? Why do federal agents stalk people online and get them to kill themselves instead of worrying about school shooters? Yeah. Yeah, Telegram. I have a Telegram group, actually. The link is always in the description of my videos. It's called The Rebellion. It's a basic chat group, but I do try to remember to post links to my shows there as well. And other people post in there too. But, yeah, I have a group. If you are on Telegram and you want to join us, you can get links to other groups too. from there? Invite group link, copy link. There. Yeah, that's, I like Telegram. Oh, Nathan Sanders. Oh. Oh, geez, I didn't know that. Makes me wonder why her channel is still up. Because, well, I mean, I guess that goes part of like the disclosure thing. Like they have to, she's not breaking any rules, right? You know, there's a lot of this stuff that's left off on YouTube though, you know? This type of stuff. And I wonder if that isn't sort of like related to them, you know, having to disclose their dirty tricks. I mean, it's all stuff, and everything she says you can go and verify. Because like as she was talking, she was mentioning things that I hadn't heard of. And then I was looking it up and I was like, oh, that's really a thing. Yeah, so yeah, but there's a lot of cool groups on Telegram. You can find a lot of good information. What's up beside the dome? So, so anyway, are you guys down for watching this interview? I really think it's a great information, and it really it's a good reminder of like what's been done and how things are set up, because a lot of people just you know, they have a hard time sort of understanding it, and I think it would be good. Yeah, you would think, but I think a lot of people are just ignorant. Would never underestimate willful ignorance. Goodness gracious. Yeah, don't tolerate that. If people are ruining the chat, just get them out of here. There's too many good people in the world to sit there and waste your time on these turds that want to come in and like just poop all over everything. Just get them out of here. You know, I don't care. All right, let's do this.
Welcome back to WHDT World News. I'm Gary Franchi, and joining me now is whistleblower from the World Bank, Karen Hudes. We're going to bring you the conclusion of yesterday's interview. Karen, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Gary.
Karen, when we concluded yesterday's interview, we were discussing, or you had brought up the new Constitution that was instated in the United States. So is the Constitution that we know today in effect, or is there a different Constitution that you claim?
Unfortunately, we are being snookered by the Congress because every 2 years they reintroduce a state of martial law. And we are not under our first Constitution. We are under this second secret Constitution. What that Constitution provides is that our tax dollars are going to pay interest to the Federal Reserve. They're not paying for any of the services that we need in our country. Instead,
So, what was I going to say? Never mind.
where are we getting the money? We're getting it from the poppy fields in Afghanistan and the drug trade. That's how we're financing our country.
Yeah. Okay. So I remember back in around this time, I was living in San Diego, and I remember very specifically coming across a news article that talked about a shipping container full of cocaine, and the shipping container belonged to Mitch McConnell. So 100%, this is like, and then you go back and you think about how a lot of the whistleblowers, the CIA whistleblowers who came out a while ago, and they were talking about how the CIA was making crack and pumping it into these poor areas. And then have you ever seen those videos too, where dudes talk about how they would find crates full of weapons in the alleys in the ghetto? Like that demographic of people, those people they totally engineered that whole gangster life, gang thing, gang violence. That was completely engineered by the CIA because they wanted them to sell their drugs, right?
Is a travesty.
Now, you mentioned that the secret constitution allows for the interest to be paid to the Federal Reserve. But isn't that the Federal Reserve Act that we know that was established in 1913 when it was passed on Christmas Eve? So where does that law fall into place?
You'll remember that President Lincoln was assassinated by a Jesuit. Mm-hmm. That was in order to prevent the greenback dollars that Lincoln had issued directly by the Treasury Department. And so what happened was the bank of that day was then able to continue to earn interest on the currency of the United States.
And there you have just basically revealed the true meaning behind the quote unquote Civil War, where they say it's about slavery. It's like their very first, not the very first, but it's like, it just goes to show you that they were using this racial division, this made racial division, which they did, with the slavery and all that. They made this they created this, right? And then they tell you the Civil War is about that. But that's not what the Civil War was about, right? It's the banksters. The banksters set it all up so they could maintain control of the country and take over the financial system.
That was why he was assassinated. And the reason why we had that second constitution enacted in 1871 is that is when the Revolutionary War debts fell due. As a matter of fact, one day I opened my mail and somebody mailed me the financing statement for those debts that, together with the unpaid interest on the debts, had accrued to the trillions of dollars.
Now, the concept of a secret constitution, some people might cry foul there. I don't believe a word you're saying because I've never heard of such a thing. How can those claims be substantiated?
Two ways. The first is that I will show you the minutes of the meeting of the patriots who met and looked at the State House records in Carolina when that secret constitution was enacted. And I can show you the financing statements for the Revolutionary War debt. That was the reason we got that second secret constitution.
So is that second secret constitution, who is it in favor of? Is it in favor of the people or the corporate United States?
It's in favor of the banks. It's certainly not in favor of the people. What happens when you have a child is your child is given a Social Security number. They estimate how many taxes your child is going to pay over his or her lifetime. And they take that birth certificate and they issue it on the capital markets and they earn money on it.
Okay, so what you're saying is that the birth certificate itself creates a monetary value on the books with the Federal Reserve?
I'm saying something much worse, actually. What I'm saying is that when every citizen goes into the court system, they are not seen there as themselves a U.S. citizen. They're seen as the person who had their birth certificate pledged. You're there as a debtor. You're not there as a citizen.
So, because of the national debt, are you saying that Americans they're just born into debt and there's nothing that they can really do about it? They're debtors in the system.
We have been converted from human beings that are citizens of the Republic of the United States into chattel.
Chattel. So I have here my law dictionary. next to me because I was looking up some of the terms that she was using. I don't know if I have the best version of the Black's Law dictionary here, but it did have chattel in it. Chattel, movable or transferable property, personal property, especially a physical object capable of manual delivery and not the subject matter of real property. Chattel, movable or transferable property.
Chattel, that is a legal term for something which is property. We are now considered to be property of the Federal Reserve. We're not considered to be human beings and citizens of the United States.
That's a very strong statement. How do we reverse that? If that is in fact the true statement, how do we reverse that?
The first thing we do is we recognize it. We understand it. And then the second thing we do is we have that constitutional convention, which is our right under our first constitution, and we repeal that banker's constitution. We repeal it, we get rid of it, we do not want it, we do not need it, and we issue our treasury dollars backed by the gold out of the collateral account that has been offered to us.
Some people are very concerned about Article 5 convention, wherein you may have powers, money powers, that could inject themselves into the into that convention process where the Constitution is rewritten. A lot of people are very concerned that some of the very basic rights that are instilled and enshrined in the Bill of Rights would then be evaporated. Maybe the freedom of the press would be changed to only specific sanctioned outlets can speak freely, or even the Second Amendment would have to be rewritten to only allow certain people to carry firearms to protect others. So there's a lot of people who do have valid concerns with an Article 5 convention. Do you share those concerns?
I say that that is a very good proof to me of just how corrupted our media is. Because if we had a true media that was representing the interests of the citizens, they would know that that is not a concern whatsoever. Because what happens out of that convention is simply recommendations, which have to be voted up or down by 3/4 of the state legislatures.
Do you think the money powers would have enough lobbying capacity to lobby for those 3/4 of the states? I mean, if you think back to when the 16th Amendment was passed, even though it was passed illegally and it wasn't properly ratified by 3/4 of the states, it still became an amendment, and we now are under an income tax system. So if you think about 3/4 of the states ratifying an Article 5 convention, do you believe that the money powers could have influence in that process?
I would simply ask your viewers to take a good look at whether we have a second secret constitution, how we got that constitution, and whether we in the United States have the wherewithal to throw off those shackles. And if we don't, we deserve them.
So where is the second constitution? Where is it? Where do they keep it? What does it say?
The second constitution consists of the fact that we are paying interest on our debt when we could simply have clean treasury dollars backed by gold.
Is it a constitution in the same sense that we understand our constitution as today? Now,
This is why I like this interview, this part here, because it's talking about a second constitution, but it's not like a constitution like where they have it on the Capitol and it's out there for everybody to see and like, this is what we're going by, right? Like it's like a backdoor deal that they did.
I think of the Constitution, I think of old parchment and handwritten script, and I think of the founding fathers and writing this document out. So when I think of a second constitution, is it fair to say that is this another document that written in the same manner, or is it? Help me visualize what this document what this document says?
What it is it's the Act of 1871 where Maryland and Virginia created this square mile of the District of Columbia. And then they incorporated the United States as a company. And they made the President of the United States the Chief Executive Officer. And they made the representatives of Congress managers. And so when people come to Congress, they're taught very quickly that their constituents are not what it's all about. What it's all about is for them to get on the dole of the federal government, which is there to enslave the people who live in the United States. That's what that is.
So is it fair to call it a constitution then, or is it more or less when Maryland and Virginia created Washington D.C. as its own District of Columbia as we know it today?
Well, it's more than that, because the federal courts, the judges, are not sitting there in courts of equity. They're secretly treating us as if we are property of the United States. When we come in there, we are not there in a court of equity. So yes, it is a different arrangement with our government.
This secret constitution, is it really more of a corporate document?
What it means is that when you go to court to protect your rights, you don't even get to first base, because that judge is not sitting in what you call a court of equity. They're not looking at you as if you're a citizen of the United States. They're handling you as if you're a person who's just servicing the debt of the United States. You're there as a thing.
So if you're just a thing in a courtroom that's servicing debt, I mean, what does that make every American citizen?
It takes away all of our rights.
So Americans don't have any rights?
Americans need to take back their rights, because...
See, I love that. He says, so Americans don't have any rights. Americans need to take back their rights, okay? Because you do have rights. And this is like one thing that we keep saying over and over again. Like, if you want, nobody's going to hand you back your power. You have to take it. You have to own it. You have to take back our right. We collectively have to take back our rights, okay?
Our founding fathers were very clear about that. We were in a country that had consent of the governed. We were in a country that could bear arms, had the right to bear arms. They understood that we were a liberty-loving people. And actually, the fate of the world is riding on whether we have remained that. And I think we have.
So what do you...
I think we have remained to be a liberty-loving people. Like, we all want freedom, right? It's just that, it's like a lot of people have that frogs in boiling water type of syndrome, right? Where they don't see their liberties being chipped away at, like, very slowly. It's like, that's what I'm saying. You don't even notice it, and people don't pay attention to these bills that they pass. Like the one that they're trying to pass with TikTok, it's got all kinds of horrid shit written into it. So if that bill passes, it's like it gives them a lot more power. It becomes a lot more tyrannical. I mean, if you read the details, and some people, I haven't read it. Obviously, I don't sit there and read 1,000-page bills, but there are people who have read it and they have disclosed what they have hidden into the different parts of this bill that they're trying to pass. And that's how they do it. They sneak it in under the guise of one thing, and then something else completely unrelated will be written into it.
See as the future of this nation. I know that yesterday we spoke about that you're very optimistic about the global outlook, and there are other individuals who believe that we're on the precipice of a global economic collapse. Given this Constitution that you speak of and the state of the rights of Americans, where do we go from here?
Where we go from here is that we just take a deep breath and thank ourselves for our neighbors and our friends and our country and our founding fathers that gave us the first Constitution, which is protecting not only our rights, but the rights of every human being on this earth. And all that we have to do is say yes to the dollar that John F. Kennedy printed for us and tell the bankers that they're not entitled to keep it from us. It's our birthright. And the gold that belongs to us because Wolfgang Struck has allocated it to us. And when we say yes to that, it's really not that hard to say yes, it seems to me. What we're doing is we're freeing that gold also for the rest of humanity, so all the other countries of the world get their share of the assets. And we just rebuild. And what that would look like is up to us. It's going to be our world to take back and to care for each other.
Some people might disagree with you and say that the Constitution has failed us, that the Constitution that the Founding Fathers has failed us because we are seeing a Congress pass laws that are contrary to it with no repercussion. We see a commander-in-chief enforcing laws that are contrary to the very document they take an oath to. So has the Constitution, the original Constitution that the founders created, has it failed the American people in that regard?
I think,
or is it just a failure of humanity or failure of leadership? What do you think?
Let me explain where we are. I think when people understand where we are, they'll see that we only have ourselves to thank for whatever the outcome is going to be.
And I like that too. We only have ourselves to thank for whatever the outcome is going to be. So if you stand by and do nothing, and you let this out of control beast do whatever it wants, and you don't tell it no, and you don't stop it, you don't spank the back of its hand, then you get what you deserve. And she says this in some of her other interviews. She's like, if we don't take our rights back, if we don't, do what we're able to do, then we deserve what we get. And I think this is true.
We are actually at a fork in the road. And
this was in 2015 too. So we're now fast forward. Now it's 2023. This is 8 years later. So she's back then talking about being on the fork in the road. Well, now I feel like, did we already pick one of them forks? Are we going down one of those forks now?
With whistleblowers, first of all, from the World Bank. That's who I started out working with. And then I started working with anybody as my story and the rest of the whistleblower story got out. And once Elaine Colville, who's in Scotland, she's a World Bank whistleblower, the two of us got our statement up on the UK Parliament website. What was our statement? The first statement I got up was that the capital markets are absolutely, they're just completely controlled by this conglomerate that has 40% of the assets and 60% of the earnings of all the companies that are traded. And the Securities and Exchange Commission is not enforcing insider trading law.
SEC, the same SEC that's trying to go after crypto right now.
And the Securities and Exchange Commission was not requiring KPMG to do an honest audit of the World Bank financial statements, because I bought a World Bank bond, which meant that I was a bondholder and the World Bank was not immune. So I went to the Serious Fraud Office in the United Kingdom, and I told the Serious Fraud Office that it was their responsibility, since the UK was also helping to finance the World Bank, and also because UK citizens owned World Bank bonds. It was their responsibility to end this corruption that I was reporting. So the Serious Fraud Office called up the Securities and Exchange Commission. That was in 2010. The SEC couldn't be bothered. The same people at the SEC that brought us Bernie Madoff wouldn't answer the Serious Fraud Office.
See that? The same people at the SEC who brought us Bernie Madoff, the last huge financial collapse, 2008, right? They can't be fucking bothered.
So then, when the UK Parliament asked a question about supervision of the UK money in the World Bank, I answered that question. I said there was no supervision, that the UK taxpayer money was just going to the dogs at the World Bank. And then there was a second question, which was on privatization. They wanted to know in the UK Parliament whether the functions of the UK public ought to be privatized. And I said, absolutely not, because the entity that was supposed to be supervising the World Bank on behalf of the UK had been privatized, and they were doing a lousy job. And then the third question was, how is the UK Parliament and the rest of the UK government doing on processing complaints? And I said, you're doing a lousy job. I've been complaining to the Parliament for years, and you're just sitting on your hands. And Elaine Colville gave a much more blunt criticism, because she had been going to the Prime Minister and the Ombudsman, and she raked them over the coals. You can see our statements up on the Parliament.
So then, back to the question: Does that mean that you see a failure in the American leadership to uphold the values of the Constitution, or because there are people out there that say, we have this great document and it stands for so much and it's brought us so far, but we have people who are in power who disregard it and simply pay it lip service. So, where do you stand on that position?
Well, I have been going to the U.S. Congress and writing to them and talking to them, and I've been talking, for example, to General Martin Dempsey on December 2nd when he had a town hall meeting. I've been discussing the problem one-on-one when the Secretary of Defense, Chuck Hagel, was a senator. I spoke to him about this power transition model that we were discussing, which is very accurate,
power transition model. So here she's going to describe where they did like a simulation of if we proceed down, if we do XYZ, what happens, right? It's interesting. So this is actually a good part here.
That we were at a fork in the road, and that if we would lose our allies, we would have a currency war. And they know very well how that model works, because they've been working on it in the Department of Defense, and how very accurate it is. So what can I say? They are completely aware of the fact that we are at the fork in the road. And why I think we're going to take the high road is because they know enough citizens are also aware of this model, and they're demanding of their government that we take the high road. They're not letting them off the hook. They're writing their Congress people. And for example, there was a meeting. I've been at this business of whistleblowing, and I've been getting public coverage now for quite some time, although not with the mainstream media. You won't find the first interview on the mainstream media. So
yeah, and this is not mainstream. I know it kind of looks like it with this title underneath, but it says nextnewsnetwork.com N3 Studio One. I'm not even sure if they're still a thing. I guess they should be, but oops, I lost my place.
A meeting. I've been at this business of whistleblowing, and I've been getting public coverage now for quite some time, although not with the mainstream media. You won't find the first interview on the mainstream media. So going back to one of your questions about RTTV, when RTTV did have me on.
RT, Russian Times, right? RT, actually, and just as a side note, I found RT when I was, looking for stuff about 9/11, like way back in 2006, 2007. I was like, oh, there were certain websites I found that they were publishing stuff that I was not seeing in American mainstream media, right? So I was looking at Russian Times or whatever, and also there was like Mint Press News was another one. But anyways, and not to say that those are still good sources now, but like at the time, you were able to find stuff that you wouldn't find on CNN or MSNBC or Fox or any of that stuff. Although that's changed now, though, because look at the stuff that Tucker Carlson says on Fox. Like, sometimes it blows my mind how he's able to say stuff on Fox. I mean, it just goes to show you, like, how elevated things have gotten over the years.
This is not a little story. Where did you find this in the mainstream media? So, no, we're not. I guess the answer is you get the government you deserve. There's something called the National Taxpayer Union. They have a blog up on me. I've had a number of people writing their congresspeople, and I was going to start talking about the county executives because there was a meeting of county executives in July. And what happened was one of the people that just writes to me based on some of the news coverage that I'm getting with HDTV and also with the stories on the alternative media. So they contacted me and they said, you know, Karen, you can't just keep going to the governors. You have got to go to something else because the governors are not responding. So that's when I started writing to an organization of county executives. And they had a meeting in July and they elected Ike Leggett, who is the county executive of Montgomery County, Maryland, which is the county that I live in. And so I have been keeping Ike Leggett informed. I've been asking all of the people that contact me to contact their county executives as well. So what I would say is that we have a very intricate but powerful system in our republic that does have all of the bells and whistles necessary. And we will be able to take back our republic. I'm very optimistic that the machinery will work. But I'm also not underestimating the amount of the cleanup job because I've been, as a lawyer, I've been going to the American Bar Association. I would have to say that the legal profession is seriously, seriously broken, that the bar associations should not be responsible for licensing attorneys because they have not been responsive. I say that that system is totally broken.
Karen, we're just about out of time, and I want to give you another opportunity to give your final thoughts to the American people on the state of America and the state of the world and the practical things that the individuals can do to make change happen for humanity.
Well, the very first thing I would say is go out and buy silver and gold coins because we still have Federal Reserve notes and those pieces of paper are toilet paper. That is the very first thing that you should do because
Federal Reserve notes are toilet paper.
You do not want your family not to have currency, and what you currently have is not worth anything. That's why the BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are no longer paying for their international trade in dollars. Governments are no longer holding the Federal Reserve notes. We need to be very you need to do your homework as citizens and find out what it means when you have Federal Reserve notes. They're valueless and they are unconstitutional, and we need to get that outfit out of here. That's the very first thing. And then the second thing is that we have to all work together to clean up the mess. And I don't think it's going to be that hard, actually, to get our republic back.
Welcome back to...
I thought that was a great interview because she calls it a republic, and it is. You know, what this country is supposed to be, a constitutional republic, which protects the individual from the mob rule, right? And everybody has sort of gotten somehow, somewhere along the way, shifted over to calling it a democracy, and a democracy is mob rule. It is not a republic. So 11/11. Oh. Yeah. So what are your guys' opinion of Kim Iverson? I haven't watched very much Kim Iverson. I saw her a little bit and I found her to be very surface level, and I didn't really consider her to be a very deep digger as far as, you know, alternative news goes. I like, there's other people that I like better than her. But still, it's doing your own due diligence, which is it's very time consuming. If you really want to go look around into all these different areas, and this is what I do. If I were to give it like a sort of like an explanation of how I figure stuff out, is I just go and I look at different areas and I see where the information's overlapping, and okay, well, it seems to be that this is true and this is not, and da 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 da. But it's so convoluted now. You can't, there is no single trusted news source that you can go to. There just isn't. You're just going to have to use, your common sense and look for it from different sources. Like, the whole old school thing where they couldn't publish stuff unless it was verified by two independent sources, that should still hold true, although it doesn't. Most of the news is like AI generated hearsay bullshit propaganda, That was a great, thank you, Billington, and cheers. Yeah. When people, okay. Oh, I have a JM on the line. He's been on here for a while. Let's see. Hey, JM, were you just listening or did you want to talk?
Hey, how are you doing this morning, Miss Karen?
Good, how are you?
Good. Yeah, that was very interesting, you playing that spot there about what was going on in 2015 in the financial markets. And that Next News Network is still around, that Gary Frenchy guy that does it. Of course, he's running into the same problem most people are that just try to present facts and truth. He's getting strikes, he's getting demonetized, the whole 9 yards. But
right.
He does, I'd have to say, a lot of the basically alternative news, but he does it in a very professional manner and just lays out the facts. There doesn't seem to be a lot of bias in his stuff. So, but he is still around.
Okay, yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah, he is. Oh, he's got a big globe on his video. Well, that goes.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. It is what it is. But
yeah.
I thought it was very interesting, too, when you were talking earlier about the boxes of weapons they dropped in New York City and in Los Angeles and things like that, along with the drugs that the government is a big part of the drug cartels. And another thing that we can see that this government does, and all governments do, is they use the screen as their greatest weapon. And if you want to see what happened with violent crime and gangs in America, go back and look at the movie Colors from 1988.
Yeah.
Go look at pre the movie Colors gangs, and then look post the movie Colors gangs, and completely night and day difference of what happened. And then you can go back and look at history about how they used the screen and entertainment to control the people. When that movie Pulp Fiction came out, heroin use in high school, white kids in high school went through the flipping roof after that movie came out. The same thing with the television show Breaking Bad. Meth use went through the roof in the white community when that show was out.
Yeah. And they make money off both sides of it, right? So they make the money by importing the drugs and selling it. And then they make the laws against these drugs. And then they make money off putting the people in prison into the corporate prison system, right? When they get hooked on these drugs that they brought into the country. I mean, it's so freaking evil.
Well, I mean, if you really, really look at what's going on, and especially with the financial system, it's enslavement. And the more I go back and look at, I mean, you should see this too with all the stuff you do with the Bible, digging into the Bible. It's almost like all these stories in the Bible is showing us how the controlling people, the governments, the kings, the queens, who's ever controlling, and what they do to enslave the people. And the Bible seems to be a lot of tales on, hey, this is what you do to not become a slave. This is how you live a true free life. Follow the ways that the Creator put together and stop following the nonsense of these friggin' controlling types, basically, is what it seems to be showing, and we're seeing it go on right now. I mean, they've enslaved this entire earth. and they're collapsing the entire financial system. Another big thing that people don't realize is there's a little company called Credit Suisse that had a bunch of financial problems a few weeks ago. And guess who came to their rescue? Oh, the big banks, Chase, Wells Fargo. And the industry that I'm in, the owner of the company that I work for, really smart guy, knows his business, knows how to run a business, but he's more left-leaning. But even he is saying that he's seeing that he doesn't think we'll have a collapse, but what's going to happen is the smaller banks are going to collapse like they always do, and the big box banks are going to come in and they're going to take over everything. And the more I look at history, this happened in the 70s, this happened in the 80s, this happened in the 90s, and this happened in the 2000s and 2010s. Every friggin' decade, about every 10 or so years, we seem to have another financial crisis. And the smaller banks get gobbled up by the big banks, and it works deeper and deeper to enslave us. And of course, I mean, take a look at your paychecks. I don't know how many people listening here are W-2 employees, but after the first of the year, you got that first check, you look at it and go, what the fuck? And you look at how much taxes came out, and it's like, oh, that's right, all of the stuff that the last administration put into place, you know, the tax breaks and the tax incentives and all that other thing, because they took away all the other write-offs you got to have. Well, the new administration let all the savings go away, but kept all the stuff that took your money. And now you're looking at your check going, fuck, that's almost 50% of my check is going for taxes and damn insurance.
Yeah. Taxes that just go into the pockets of the big banks that do absolutely nothing for this country. That's gotta piss. I mean, people should be so pissed. I know.
I mean, look at these elected officials. Well, they have the right to have 4 and 5 mansions and shit like that. Well, I'm sorry. Look at their friggin' annual salaries and explain that to me. Because last time I checked, Karen, I take a look at myself. I take a look at people like you and other people I know that, hey, we make livings. Are we making killings? No, we're your standard, you know, middle class type people. But you look at it and go, I don't know about you, Karen, how many mansions do you and Ted have? And how many mansions does Mark Sargent have? Last time I checked, you probably just got your own house.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that these politicians are fucking us. There's no way possible on the salary they earn from the government that they could afford all these things they afford. And it's because of the inside information they get from the banks, the friggin' bribes they get to pass these laws and to write this shit into place, yet nobody wants to fucking say shit about it. Nobody wants to get upset about it and do any investigation on these people. Instead, they want to put all this crap on the TV, and we got to have the Trump thing going on.
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
this is a fucking joke.
Mm-hmm.
How much of our government money are we going to spend on this fucking just made-up bullshit with Trump, and he's going to walk away just waving his hand going, everybody get out in the street and peacefully protest for me?
Right. Exactly. It's all a big distraction. It's all a show.
Yeah. I mean, China right now, and I do believe it's, it's another, Brazil, I think it is another country that are working together, and they're basically going, we done using the U.S. dollar as our currency, as a trade currency. We're using our own.
Mm-hmm.
They're also teaming up with Russia, doing the same thing. They are, yet we got these idiots in office now that are doing massive amount of money laundering through the friggin' Ukraine and just dumping massive amounts of money, massive amounts of weapons, yet they're over here screaming, we got to take away all of your guns because you crazy MAGA racists are just trying to go out and kill black people. It's like, what? What the fuck are you talking about?
Idiocracy. It's here.
I mean, none of this makes any sense. And you literally will talk to somebody and they're like, oh yeah, it's those evil Republicans and they're all doing this. It's like, you people are insane. Look at this shit on your TV. It's friggin' nonsense. And I still believe a lot of the shooting stuff is quote unquote real. However, I do believe a lot of these shooters are already plugged into the MK Ultra stuff. The government knows what they're doing with these people, and they just let them loose and go do what they do. And in my opinion, the true crisis actors are the alleged parents that are out in the parking lot doing interviews an hour after their son or daughter supposedly just got blown away in a mass school shooting.
Right. Exactly. I was watching some interviews
It's not
too.
going to happen.
Yeah. There was like some girl being interviewed, and she was smiling, talking about it. And I'm like, people can't put people on their like cheese in ear to ear talking about, oh, it's so horrible, the children got shot. Like, it's so stupid. Anyway.
No, I mean, it's Karen. If one of your children got killed in a shooting at a school, if you were ignorant enough to send your children to a public school, there's no way somebody could get you in front of a camera. If I was a reporter and tried to come up to you and ask you questions, you would tell me, you might as well get the fuck away from me before I put my fist in your face, buddy. I just lost my child. Get the fuck away from me with your microphone and camera.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Like, I'd be a mess. I'd be an incoherent mess if something like that ever happened to one of my children. Like, there's no way I'd be doing any interviews. I don't even know if, I don't know how long it would take, but it would take a long fucking time before I would want to talk to anybody about it. I know that. I mean, I would just be like pissed. I'd be like, who did this, and how do I get my hands around the neck of the person who did this? That'd be my main concern.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not going to get up there having a smiling, nice interview. I mean, it's nonsense of what's going on, but people have become, the American people have just become so stupid. It's amazing at how ignorant people are. And especially now with all the stuff that a lot of us are learning and digging into, you talk to the average normie and you realize these people are borderline retarded.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's not a hate word. It's not making fun of people with mental deficiencies. It's literally what the word retarded means.
Yeah.
Slowed down. Mm-hmm. Bastardize that word. It's like, what the? It's just kind of like transmission. Go into a dang auto parts store now and ask for some tranny fluid. They look at you like it's a hate word you said. What the fuck? It's a tranny. I mean, that's what it is.
I know.
It's
I hate that.
Short, what you call a fucking transmission.
Yeah. Yeah. That crap irritates me to no end, that listening to people say the R word instead of saying retard. Now, did you know that people are starting to say the S word instead of suicide? Like, you can't say suicide now? I mean, it's fucking ridiculous.
Oh my God. Well, wait a minute. They better go after that band, Suicidal Tendencies, because, they got that name in there. Got to go after them. Give them some hate crime or hate something or some bullshit.
Right.
Just fucking nonsense. Absolute nonsense. But we just need to get the time machine out, Karen, and turn back time and go back to 1980 something when people had a set of balls. At least they seemed to have a set of balls, and it was more normal. Seemed normal anyways, times.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I miss those days. You can definitely see the degradation of society over time. Like, looking back, I see it. I 100% see it. It's scary how fast things have happened. Like, even when I was talking to Ted about the whole, like, gender identity, like, whatever, dysphoria bullshit, that shit did not exist when I was a child. It just didn't. It just didn't. I never heard about it. There was never any of this crap. You were either a boy or a girl. There were very rare things that happened, in between that we had heard about, like hermaphroditism or whatever it is. But, like people who were born with, defects in their physical body for some reason. But it's like, as far as like normal boys and girls, children growing up, I don't know this, I don't know that, I don't know what I am, and all this fucking wishy-washy bullshit they're teaching her, but that shit did not happen. And you can see, like, how retarded society has become as a result of that crap being pumped into everybody's psyche.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's with the television. It's along with the chemicals that we're putting in our food supply or in our water supply. That's another thing people throw, that they completely throw that out of the bathwater and throw that out and don't even bring that fact up about all the chemicals, all the drugs. Just like that shooter, the he, she, whatever it was that just did that last shooting, you know, all the drugs that she was on. The psychological drugs, not the street drugs. I'm talking the psychological drugs with the psychological doctors. And I hate to say this, there's this girl that I know. I knew her when she was in high school because she's dating a guy whose dad owns a place, was one of the owners of the place where I go to play pinball. Of course, he's got a job now. He's done with his college, but he was a very far left-wing guy, and we'd always have debates back and forth whenever I'd run into him. And but to see what's happened to his girlfriend over time of her getting into college and getting out of college and getting into the psychiatric field, last time I saw her, she used to be an attractive-looking girl. Last time I saw her, I couldn't tell if it was a boy or a girl.
Oh, jeez.
Like, what?
Yeah.
She goes, I'm Micah's girlfriend. Oh, wow, you've changed. You know, you got the Kool-Aid colored hair. You're dressed like a dude. It's like, okay, that's all right. But that's what's happening. And this young person is now performing psychological help on people.
Great.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched this horrific video the other day where it was like this, it was a school teacher and she was in her classroom with a bunch of kindergartners, like kindergarten or first grade, like that age. And she had this puppet and she was talking like the puppet, I don't know if I'm a boy or a girl. And what, and then all these children start talking about, oh, maybe he's non-binary, maybe this, maybe that. And I was like, oh my God. Fuck. Why are we talking to
maybe
children?
Maybe he's a fucking puppet.
What is this? Like, what the fuck are you people doing? Why are they even discussing any sort of sexuality topic with fucking kindergartners? 5 and 6 year olds, 5, 6, 7 years old. Like, what the fuck? I mean, it's insane to me. It's child abuse. It's systemic. It's child abuse has become systemic because the system is abusing children.
Yes. I mean, look at what's going on now. Look at the amount, the highest deaths in America is from the aborting of children. Oh, how dare you say that's a bad thing? Well, I mean, they were doing that back in biblical times when they were taking the newborn children and putting it in idol hands and melting the babies in the idol's hands.
Yeah.
There's nothing different. Doing the same shit all over again. Ain't nothing new going on underneath the sun. I'm telling you, if Christ were to walk the earth right now, he'd take him around on a Friday, take him around town. At the end of the day, he'd look at you and go, man, ain't nothing changed since I was here 2,000 years ago. Y'all still just as dumb and stupid, doing the same shit.
Yeah. Crazy, man. Crazy.
Well, as always, Miss Karen, thank you for the work you do, and congratulations on Vegas.
Yeah, thank you.
That's definitely going to be fun.
Yes, sir. It's going to be a blast.
Just make sure Ted doesn't get that COVID toe again.
Oh, yes. We're watching over Ted very closely until then.
Make sure he gets his vaccines and McDonald's at least 3 times a week.
Oh, okay. All right, Jam.
You got to keep him healthy, Karen.
Oh, yes. Right.
Thanks, Karen. Appreciate you.
Talk
Bye.
to you later. Bye. Oh, that's funny. The water's a gay bomb, baby. What? Okay, what's going on in chat? So when they grow up, they will be confused and fearful, and so follow the rules, right? Trying to mold the next generation. They're basically giving a whole generation of children psychological problems, is what they're doing. I mean, think about it. They are giving a whole generation of people psychological problems. They're confusing them. They're putting a fantasy reality in their brains at a small age. I think I pulled my children out of public school in the nick of time. Seriously. Like, if I'd have left them in there any longer, they probably would have completely screwed my children up. It has been the best thing I've ever done. Homeschooling has been, like, one of the best choices I've ever made. Ever. I can't tell you how much better the relationship with my children got, how much more well-behaved they got. Their vocabulary got better because they're not talking to a bunch of, children who talk in memes or watch, whatever crap they're allowed to watch, or whatever crap their parents are saying at home. Now, when you take your children out of public school, they are no longer exposed to the degeneracy of the general public, right? Which is who your children are in school with when they're there. And they're not being supervised very closely, right? It's like 1 or 2 teachers for like a couple dozen children at best. So nothing is going to be better than you watching and caring for and teaching your own children. Absolutely nothing. I don't know why they have people thinking that they can't teach their children anything. It's like, people go, even my attorney at one point, he was like, well, I commend you for homeschooling. He's like, but my wife did it for a little bit, but she's not a teacher. Like saying like, oh, well, you're not a teacher. Well, you know what? I am a fucking teacher if I want to be, and I'll teach my children everything they need to know because I have the hindsight of someone who has gone through the system, and I know what I took away from it, what the useful information was, and what the not so useful information was. So now, with that behind me, I am able to then focus on the useful information that my children need, and I leave out most of the not useful information, the fluff, the programming, the BS. And when you do that, when you just focus on like the necessary information, the base knowledge that people need to have like those critical thinking skills, to learn how to work through situations, to do math, to read, basic science skills, basic, learn the thought process, learn how to analyze, situations. You teach them that and they're golden. They're golden. And it doesn't take as much time out of their day. Like putting these children in these desks, these rooms for hours and hours a day is so not necessary. It's not necessary. If you homeschool, you get the important stuff done, you focus on it, and then the children are free to express themselves in other ways with more time throughout the day without the pressure or the stress being added by this, this state-run institution. But by the way, that doesn't do anything for the betterment of your children. They don't do shit, It really, you are responsible for the type of person that your children grow up to be. Hi, Sue Finelli. They learn to be adults faster. Exactly, because they talk to other adults, And when I was young, I remember that I liked being around people older than me more than I liked being around other children. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because, I felt like there was something to be learned there, or just if you have, a thirst for information, or if you're inquisitive, naturally you're going to want to be around other people who are older than you because they have more experience and more things to, more information that they can pass on to you. Whack job. So, oh my God, the teachers in these schools, they are not smart. I mean, a couple of the teachers, I would like ask them questions and like the glazed look that would go over their face, like, it's like, wow, okay. So, for all of you out there, new parents, parents of young children, dude, don't be afraid to take control over your children's education and teach them what they need to know. They are not going to learn better from anybody else than from you. Because think about it. Nobody has your children's best interests at heart more than you, right? Do you think any other living person on this plane, be it a teacher or some school administrator or somebody, do you think that those people have the same level of vested interest into the type of person that your child becomes than you do? Fuck no, they don't. Fuck no, they don't. Okay? So, just remember that. I think people need to remember that or be reminded of that, And yes, you are capable of teaching your child. You are. You're capable of walking around and living life, right? You're a functioning adult. Do you have a home? Do you hold down a job? Do you take care of your responsibilities? Well, then guess what? You're able to teach your child to do the same thing. Yeah, they learn to be assholes at those schools. Exactly. Hi, Cammie. School and prison and the workplace are so similar, yeah. Normies can barely dress themselves. They need another normie to focus on teaching their children for them. A lot of home people are homeschooling children. Also, as an example, Sonia of the Truther Girls channel did it, and her autistic son did a lot better. Yes! And it was the best thing she did for exactly Artez. I knew a family a long time ago where their 2 children were autistic, and the mom was struggling with the school, and she was over there all the time, and she finally got to the point where she was like, you know what, screw it. And she took them out and she started homeschooling them, and they did immensely better under the care and tutelage of their own mother than of some state-run institution. Oh. A very special caller on the line. Thanks for calling Coffee Talk. You're on with Karen B.
Hey, honey. I just wanted to, interject with all the wonderful, great view about the schooling system and how you were perfectly timed to pull your children out before the system really deliberately dumbed them down and just make them just useful workers, essentially. So that was wonderful. It's just sad to think about everything that we learn in our 12 years of primary school and such, but about all the BS and fake history and fake this and that. And now, sexual pleasures and the like, and gender dysmorphia and all that crap now being instilled into today's public education system is just disgusting as hell, because, I see it now in real time whenever I'm at work, and I see the people, all my coworkers are essentially just workers with barely any cognitive abilities. They never think outside the box. They never look around and never do anything. They focus on sports, and it's just, I can't handle that shit.
Yeah.
Insanity.
Nothing but small talk.
Oh. No, nothing. No one ever wants. I talk about two people in 2 years have talked to me, brought up the idea about flat Earth, and I just shut them down within 2 sentences, and then the brains are spinning. It's sad.
Yeah.
I don't know how people do it. They're all happy about their vaccinations, even though I'm hoping that, they set the example and not getting the shots and not doing this and that, and maybe they're thinking otherwise. I'm starting to think that, but who knows? Wishful thinking. But yeah, just got home. So.
Oh, did you get mulch?
30 bags.
Wow.
I know.
You can
That
tell.
was a trip for every bunch of people in Shelby.
Man, too bad we couldn't have video of you hauling the mulch with your Honda.
I know. Next time, just make for a clear day and capture it with the drone or something.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Mm-hmm. And I'll let JM know that I'll plan on going to McDonald's, and I'm going to go right to the nearest pharmacy and get all my COVID shots and everything there to make sure he's happy.
Okay, make sure you're nice and healthy.
Yeah, nice and healthy, like the true American I am. Like, sad. But we have vegan options now at fast food, so that makes it healthier. That's gonna be good.
Vegan options. They have like the.
I don't know.
They have the
They might be your
impossible, probably the impossible. Whatchamacallit, yucky stuff over there.
Burger.
Yeah. Mulch attracts bugs.
Yep.
Someone says I prefer
I love
rock. Mulch attracts bugs. Well, I live in the South and there's no escaping bugs, so.
Yeah. Bugs are attracted to me.
Fuck.
I'll have to think about that.
Yeah. Oh,
But luckily you got me all prepped there with all the bug spray.
Yes, I did. I care.
Yes, both. She cares.
So what else is going on,
Yep,
Ted?
yep. I don't know. I might go back out and get another 30 bags. We'll see.
Oh. Okay. Well, if you do, you should let me know, and I'll put the drone in the air, and I'll follow you down the road a little bit.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, I'll give you a. Well, let's see. What time is it right now? 11:30. I don't know. I guess it depends on I'll just go after you're done streaming here, so you'll be all set up.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll figure it out.
Exactly. Alrighty.
All right, sweetheart.
The fun heads up.
Okay.
All right, baby.
Bye.
Bye.
That's Ted Summer, everybody. Ted, who hooked up the trailer hitch to his little two-door Honda Civic, went and picked up some mulch. Woohoo! Cedar mulch. Can you ask the lady with the autistic child if she has a caca story when the kid was growing up? You mean the child would spread his poop everywhere? Because there's a few I've got a few friends who had autistic children where the children would spread their shit everywhere. All the time too. I was like, man, how do you even deal with that? Yes, I have heard of that. And it sounds like a nightmare. Hey, Ben. Hail. Lots of kids do that. Mine never did. Thank the creator. My children did not do that. Yeah, Ted is the city boy who became country lumberjack when he moved over here to the Carolinas. Ted had not done so many things until he moved here, use a chainsaw and build fires, and now he's really good at building fires, and he's got his own cool steel chainsaw, and his Honda has a hitch on it, and he's got a trailer hitch, and he uses it to go pick up mulch. And he takes care of the chickens, he chops wood. It's the best. My twins got like 2 fucking weeks, just about lost my mind. Yeah. So anyway, I hope that you guys go check out this woman, Karen Hudez. I keep wanting to say Hoods. Karen Hudez. She's got a bunch of videos here. Someone said she looked like an elf. Yeah, I mean, you know, not everybody can be blessed with great looks like you, I guess. But it doesn't matter because she's got awesome information here. Look, you can tell, just look at the thumbnails. She knows what's up and she's trying to tell everybody. You know, this is a whistleblower from the World Bank. I feel like we should all go study what she says very closely so that we know how to free ourselves. I mean, this woman's got information on her channel that can free slaves. It will literally free slaves, right? So fight for your freedom. Take your rights back. You're a big strong dude. I love Ted. Ted's my guy. All right. I am feeling a break coming on. I might need to take a quick break. And my phones are open, 848-222-2480. Can we send donations to send a balloon and cam up to view the flat earth? I know the Globebusters did a balloon. I wouldn't mind trying to do a balloon again. I don't know what it entails, and I don't know what it costs, but I wouldn't mind trying to do a balloon again. I think it would be fun. I notice more and more FE abandoning the vegan lies. Well, yeah. Yeah, because you need some bioavailable protein, man. You need it. I mean, some people do okay on a vegan diet, or they'll be like, I've never felt so great in my life. And it's probably because they have started to like detox and their body is expelling like the reserve of whatever they had in their system. But once they get past that I feel so great stage, because I did it. I did the vegan diet for a while, like 7 months. I couldn't last more than 7 months. And I did that. I was like feeling good at first. And then once you get past that, then it becomes, I can't eat enough. I'm still hungry. I was like constantly grazing. I was always munching on something. And I started to notice I was like always eating, but I never felt satiated. And I just started to feel like weak and just bleh. And I was like, after a while, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm eating some eggs. And I cooked myself some eggs and potatoes. And it was like, oh, it was like I came back to life. It was like I could feel my body just taking in that protein, that bioavailable protein. I need it. I need it. Yeah, I'm down for doing another balloon. Let's do a balloon. Except I've never done one before, and I don't know what's entailed. I think Bob still has some cameras, but I'm not sure. Who knows? That would be fun, though. Yeah. I eat meat now and feel great. 17 years of no meat, too. That would be cool. I'm up for a balloon situation. I got funds for it. We just need to get together and come up with a plan. Okay. That's what I'm saying, Ben. Even like, okay, when I was vegan, I didn't start eating meat right away. I started introducing the other stuff first, like eggs and cheese. And I was never a big milk drinker, so I don't really drink milk. But like, I started eating eggs and cheese, and oh, just that alone was huge. One thing I will say about doing the vegan thing for a while is it made me realize that I don't need as much meat as I was previously eating before in my diet. Like, it made me, be more conscious of like diversifying the diet, like more fruits and other stuff that I like to eat, mushrooms and other, like, I like vegetarian stuff. I still like eggs, but I don't eat as much meat as I used to. And and I realized you don't have to have it with every meal. It did change the way I eat in general, I think for the better, but I think long term the vegan diet just was not working out for me so great. Duck eggs. Jack says he likes duck eggs, and man, my children were like, "Can we get ducks?" Because like we went and got some baby chicks the other day. Ted posted them on Facebook, but we got 4 new baby chicks, right? Because we'd lost a couple chickens, and we have the room, so it was just time to replenish the flock. So I went and I got 4 new baby chicks. And while we're there, my children are like, "Can we get ducks?" And I'm like, "Man, I don't know if I want to add ducks. Because you need to get a kiddie pool, and they're kind of messy and blah, blah, blah." But Jack says the eggs are great. Balloon meteorological investigation aerial video. Really? Weather balloon, professional weather balloon. Pilot balloons are not designed to carry payloads. Weather balloons are usually tracked from the ground using a theodolite. Huge balloon. Okay, so this isn't designed to carry anything. That's probably why it's cheaper. Liftoff altitude about 1,500 meters. Widely used. Use it to get cool videos from the top and space.jumbo balloons engagement. What? Why is it saying it can't have a payload? So it's just giant balloon. That doesn't look like a weather balloon. What is this? I don't know about this one, Zulu. This looks a little sketch. Not gonna lie. Let's try this. $159. Like, what's the difference between this and this? I don't know if Amazon's the right place to get a weather balloon. 1,200 gram weather meteorological near space sounding radio high altitude balloon. Yeah, I don't think so. Thank you for calling Coffee Talk. You're on with Karen B.
Yes. Hi, Karen.
Hi.
Yeah, this is Steve in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing great. Listen, I enjoy your shows and following you and following your show with Mark for many years, and just never really called in. But I thought today I would call to say that hopefully if the border is open, some Canadians might be able to come down to Vegas in October.
Yeah, that would be great. So the day they're supposed to lift those mandates is May 11th. So I'm watching for them to actually do that.
Right. Well, your president was in Canada talking to our president, to the two clowns, I guess. I don't know. And that's always a bad sign. whenever, I'm sort of crossing my fingers that he didn't make some kind of deal to keep the border closed if Canada went into Haiti or something like that. But yeah. Listen, I've got an issue that I want to share with you in the community that happened to me just recently.
Okay.
I have been distilling water for many, many years, and in January this year, I had to replace mine. And
Hello. What happened? God dang it. That was my fault.
Welcome to the conference
Not
center.
my fault. Google Voice's
There is
fault.
one party in the conference. You are a host.
is I got sick. I believe I got sick from it because the cheaper units do not have high quality stainless steel, and I think they leach heavy metals. And so when I tested, and I finally got around to testing the water, it was unacceptably high. It was at 100 parts per million.
Out of the distiller?
Or, particles. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because the metal parts weren't pure or high grade stainless steel, so they leached into the water. And I thought I'd share that if the testers are only about $10 each, so if you're using any kind of distillers or filters, you should really test to make sure that they actually are working properly. And I have one of those units. They're only about $10 online, and they check for the number of the parts per million, and they're very effective. But I thought I'd share that because I believe I got pretty ill from drinking that water, not realizing it was contaminated.
Wow. So what do you do now? Did you switch how you filter your water?
Well, I called up Amazon, and what I thought was interesting, when I mentioned that it was contaminated water, they refunded it 100%.
Oh.
But anyway, I went online and I bought a better quality. I think the better quality ones are the Mega Home. Those are the ones I have been using, and when you test them, they come out at zero parts per million.
Yeah, Mega
Home. But in the interim, I just went to the. Yeah, they're high quality, and if you look inside them, it's all good quality stainless steel.
Mm-hmm.
But until then, I'm just going to the corner grocery store and buying bottled distilled water until my new unit comes. But it really shocked me. I was really surprised. I couldn't believe the meter when I looked at it, and I said, 100 parts per million. I pretty well fell on the floor.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
Because
you automatically think, it's going to be clean,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's actually a contaminated level.
Yeah, because I have a water tester, and because when I started doing this and I got a distiller, I wanted to make sure it was pure water, and mine comes out 0 parts per million out of the distiller.
Exactly. So, anyone who's using it, I know if David Weiss is watching, he's probably tuned into this too. But there's probably people, particularly since the recent environmental spills, there are probably people just buying these units and using them, thinking they're getting clean water. And if they don't test them with those little parts per million testers, they don't test it, they don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, that's my public service announcement for today, and I'm glad that you're doing so well with your work, and hopefully I'll be able to see some of you guys in October.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. All right.
Yeah, well, that's about all I have, dear.
Okay, well, thank you for calling.
You bet, and I'll continue watching. Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, There's a lot of different types of water distillers. You can get water distillers that cost like thousands, where it'll distill the water and then remineralize it too. Like the distiller I have, the Mega Home, I have one that looks like this, and it just gives you pure water, just H2O, 0 parts per million contaminants in it, just straight up water. I actually really like it. I use it, for various things, like for the AquaCure and stuff. You need to put distilled water inside of it and use that as the filter. And of course, when you're mixing, medicines and stuff, like the home healthcare stuff that we've all been doing the past 3 years, distilled water. If you want to, have like DMSO spray where you do 50-50 DSMO, you put 50% distilled water and then 50% DMSO, and that's it's like a emergency antiseptic spray. Like if you cut yourself or you get a scratch or a burn or a cut or anything, you could just spray some of that on there, and it's great stuff. Like burns, I've used it for burns. It's really good. So distillers come in handy. We used to have an RO system that did that, not quite as good as distilled. Yeah, I have an RO system too. So I have reverse osmosis under the counter, which is supposed to remove fluoride. Well, these are the two ways that remove fluoride. Basically, is distilling water and reverse osmosis, right? Those are the only ways you can actually get rid of fluoride that I know of. Yeah. It's not a filtering process, right? I get it, but it takes all the impurities out of the water, and then at the end you get pure water. You're right, it's technically not a filter. It's distillation, right? Yeah, it's steam. It's like it evaporates the pure water off and then collects it as steam. Thank you for the tip, Barb R on Rockfin. I have 3 female ducks. So many duck eggs. The eggs are huge. Cheers, Arlette. I have an autistic son and he used to do that. Yeah, I had a lot of friends, like my friend that had the 2 autistic boys where she pulled them out and she ended up homeschooling them. That her boys did that. I don't know if both of them did, but I know one of them did for a while. It took a while for her to get him to stop doing it. You are your own teacher, your own scientist, your own doctor. If you seek to learn for yourself, well, I think that at least. Yes. Karen Huda also said a while ago the World Bank is run by Homo capensis, people with huge skulls and have average 180 IQ. Does she say any more about that? I did not hear her say that. I've not heard that, but I don't know. I'm gonna be looking at some of her stuff offline probably, and see what I can glean. Try to find the most interesting and pertinent parts. Because here's the other thing I think, like when you have stuff like this going on, when you have whistleblowers who are out exposing the tricks, exposing the rich men's tricks, as it were, well, then they go, oh man, well they found out about this, so we're gonna have to switch it up a little bit. And I think they're always constantly having to try to revise what they're doing, because there are smart people who are all over their shit and watching them. You know what I'm saying? Watching their every move and, and exposing them. And it's just like she was talking about in that simulation that they did, where the simulation said that there would be a coalition of people who would form to counteract the corruption in the government, to hold them true to the original Constitution and take things back to the Republic, which is what it was supposed to be in the first place. So, cheers, Ashley. Thank you for the tip. Appreciate you. Talk of George Soros' color revolution in Israel. Odd All does not seem well in the Rothschild, Romano, Jesuit, Rockefeller, Rogan, Royal Order of Garter households. Yeah. Have you seen these people on Twitter where they're like, if you say Soros funded, now that's an anti-Semitic, oops, that's not the thing I wanted to, that's an anti-Semitic, that's considered an anti-Semitic statement. Now, if you, if you say something is Soros funded, watch, let's see. I'm going to search Twitter for Soros funded. See, look at, he's not George Soros funded. This is a straight up anti-Semitic lie too that Republicans are pushing. Like, now it's anti-Semitic to say Soros funded. Ooh, Soros funded deep state operative. Huh. Trump indicted by Soros-funded district attorney in a blatantly political prosecution, because they're saying that the attorney that's filed this indictment against Donald Trump is Soros-funded, and now they're calling it anti-Semitic. I mean, it doesn't even make any freaking sense. I love Semites, Arabs, right? Telling the truth equals anti-Semitic. Yes, Jenny. Exactly. Precisely. You've been putting your Berkey water through the distiller. It's crazy what's still in there. Really? They timed the indictment for the election cycle, right? But you know what, too? There's actually 2 lawsuits going on. There's one where somebody's suing Biden. There was something that had been filed. So, oh, this guy's trying to threaten to sue Biden, but there was another one that, oh gosh, I wish I could remember what it was. But there's somebody filed a suit in some state, Alabama, Arkansas, I can't remember. Supposedly Berkeys leave more behind than they started with as far as toxins. Benjamin, really? Because people talk about Berkeys as like being like the best water filter. So that's surprising. That's really surprising. Wow. Berkeys don't work. Wow. I don't have a Berkey, but I know people that do have Berkeys. Very interesting. I know you can get different filters for the Berkeys, so I wonder if it's one kind of filter that is not working, or is it all of them? That's crazy. That is strange, because Berkeys became like the go-to filter for people to get. So that's very interesting. Rose says Jason loves his Alexa Pure. My distiller, I have this Mega Home distiller. I have a Mega Home one. Fluoride filter. Yeah, they're supposed to have, and I know for a Berkey you have to get a special fluoride filter or it won't take out fluoride. But I wonder, but if he's on a well, he doesn't necessarily need a fluoride filter. He just needs to take out bad stuff. Use RO or zero water pitchers instead. Wow. The gravity filters are good for emergencies for sure, and you can taste it when the filters go bad. That's interesting. This is the first time I'm hearing about Berkey's not doing a good job filtering water. I have the big Berkey with all the filters and it's now for sale. That's really good, Rose. If you live somewhere that doesn't have your water fluoridated, and you can look it up according to your county, if your county fluoridates the water. Yes, RO does need a special filter for fluoride. You have to specifically get, because fluoride, the molecules are like really, really small. This is, and correct me if I'm wrong if anybody knows better, but apparently fluoride molecules are small, so you need a very specific type of filter that will catch the fluoride. At least 3 years? Wow. Well, I don't know. I don't use a Berkey. So maybe I just haven't been paying attention. And then the drop of essential oil to make a spring herb. Yeah. They only remove about 35 parts per million versus their claim 99. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna call her. Thank you for calling Coffee Talk. You're on with Karen B.
Hello, this is Dennis. How's it going?
Hi, Dennis. Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Could I start off just by saying I promise you I'm not gonna talk for half an hour monologue like Mark Sargent was suggesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, just two things came to mind. First, for these meetups, I for the Ted Summer meetup in Bellevue, I picked up. I actually literally picked up train tickets this morning, and I went to the trains. I'd already bought and paid for them, but I went to the station and picked them up, and I got plane tickets to the summer solstice in Los Angeles. Mark Sargent's going to think I'm following him around, but as I told him at the Los Angeles meetup, I said, no, you're following me, because literally I got there before him, both to the Flat Earth movement and to that meetup. So it's like, it's the other way around, but I look like I am going all the same places. But yeah, I've got looking forward to all those. The other thing I wanted to say, you talked the conversation. I didn't know if I was calling earlier because it seemed to be about a different subject, but now you seem to have gravitated, to it somewhat. And I'll just be brief, but 3 or 4 weeks I called in talking about chronology and with Septuagint versus Masoretic text, which is what the Western Bibles, not to say the whole thing again, but the 1,500 year difference between Masoretic or the text, which is the Jewish Bible, which is what the Western Bibles more or less are oriented toward, as far as their chronology at least, and the Septuagint used in the Christian East as a big difference in the age of the world, and that was what I had gone into. I just wanted to share 2 little tidbits that I'd missed. One was that I had mentioned both the King James and the traditional Catholic, the Douay Rheims. They both have the age of the world when the flood, according to those two, is 1,656 years, whereas with the from creation to the flood of Noah, in both of those, whereas with the Septuagint, it's 2,242, and there's solid agreement about those. Septuagint writers differ from each other a little bit, a few years from that until the time of Christ, but most of them are uniform, is 2,242 years. There's so many witnesses to that, the same exact number of years. And the thing I found out recently, I've got this just for the Jewish, just to confirm that the Jewish chronology matches both the Western Bibles, both the King James and the Douay-Rheims. I'm using a book as a reference. This the Jewish Timeline Encyclopedia. It's a book from my library by Mattis Cantor. He's a rabbi. Kantor is his last name. But I think this can be confirmed by looking at any standard Jewish Bible, the Tanakh. But it says that the Jewish Bibles is real clear. The Jewish Bibles have the same exact chronology from the creation to the flood, 1,656 years. And they're time of the world, they're a little bit shorter, actually, but same ballpark there. I think their flood is like in the year 2100 something, 2105 or something like that. Whereas with the others, Western Bibles, it's like around 2400 BC. Anyway, but I just wanted to show that the Jewish Bibles, I didn't realize that it's exactly the same number of years as the Protestant and Catholic ones. The Orthodox and the Septuagint, it's a different deal though. So and the last thing, I wanted to share this book that's also, it's not in Western Bibles, modern ones, but it was included as an appendix in the King James and the Apocrypha and in the Douay-Rheims, the original version of the Douay-Rheims back in 1582. It had it as included it as an appendix, but appendix where I might say there's a watered down version of the Douay-Rheims came out in the 1750s, but the one with all the better version is the original from the 1500s. But anyway, this book I'm talking about, it's still included in Russian Bibles, and it's the last part of the book of Ezra, where no Greek Septuagint, the Slavonic Septuagint contains it, but the Greek Septuagint's none that scholars say it did at one time, and the originals in Hebrew of the book of Ezra, but the last part of the book of Ezra, called in the West Fourth Ezra, or it's called by different names, it's confusing, but it's the same book, and I think in the Septuagint, the Russian Bibles, it's called Third Esdras. But anyway, I don't know if it's either Second Ezra or Fourth Ezra, but if you look it up as Fourth Ezra, that's for sure. That's this book I'm talking about. It's not part of the book of Ezra and Nehemiah. It's it's got 7 visions of prophecies, and I won't summarize them all. I just wanted to I will say it's a radical book. It's very interesting, and most people, even most Orthodox, have never read it like a lot of the Greek Orthodox, because it's not in the Greek Bibles for the most part. It's in the, but I will say the 7th vision, it's interesting because it has to do with this chronology, and it's in there. I got this. It's online, and there's I thought there's a translation from 1917. It's on archive.org for free. It's just over 100 pages. It's called The Apocalypse of Ezra, translated by Box, is his last name, Box. But anyway, the 7th vision in a nutshell, what it says is Ezra was one day, this is after he's involved, with around 500 BC with the return from the Babylonian captivity of the Jews. That's the general historical setting and time period. And some of his books are in the Bible around the time of Nehemiah and all, a little bit, like maybe 100 or 75 years, something like that, after the prophet Daniel is when Ezra was. But what it says in there, it's stupendous stuff in all these visions. But on the seventh one, it says he's in the desert sitting under an oak tree, and I'm just summarizing the nutshell, and fire comes in a bush, and God begins to speak to him just like he did with Moses many centuries before. And Ezra's asking the God the questions. He mentioned that he says when the Babylonians conquered Jerusalem and they destroyed the temple that Solomon had built, the actual books of the law of the Bible, the original Hebrew manuscripts written by Moses and other prophets, it says right there that they were physically burned and destroyed, and they don't exist anymore. And I will add, it's not there, but there's several church fathers, John Chrysostomos and others, that confirm that. They quote that and they corroborate that. And he was asking how can future generations have the knowledge so there can at least be some remnant. And the voice from the bush, it tells him, you will go get 5 scribes, and he says them by name, the exact people he wants, and return the next day. And they were there in the desert in that place, not with other people around, but for 40 days and 40 nights. And he spoke to Ezra by revelation, and he got 5 scribes that could write well and write fast. And they re-recorded the entire Bible from Moses on down, and this would have been around, 470 BC, something like that. In other words, what the Septuagint, that is what the Septuagint was translated from 200 years later, around 275 BC. From the Septuagint is what the traditional Greek Old Testament, and there's a story. It's called the Letter of Aristeas, who was the librarian of Alexandria at that time, 270 BC, and it tells the story of how 72, I think it was, scribes. There's just well-known information, but that's the traditional account of how the Septuagint was made. But anyway, what the book of Ezra, the Apocalypse of Ezra, is indicating, what that came from, the original Hebrew scriptures were destroyed, and they made it again in Ezra time. Ezra told it to these 5 scribes, and I hadn't known that at all. That's pretty major. Just that the actual parchments that what that says, the book of Ezra, and it indicates, Ezra's a pretty significant figure in the Old Testament history. But it wouldn't change the chronology or anything. I just thought that was a interesting tidbit worth being aware of. This Apocalypse of Ezra, or 4th Ezra. That's all I got.
All right. Cool. Thanks, Dennis.
You got the other book. I won't do that 30-minute monologue like Mark Sargent was suggesting. I won't go into the other visions, but they're equally interesting.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks for calling.
All right, we'll see you.
I got the over 1111, Joelle. Basically, Ezra rewrote the scriptures that were destroyed. saw something in here that I was going to ask a question about, but I can't remember. And Valley Parks, thank you for the tip. She says, what breed chicks did you get? I got 2 Easter eggers, or they call them Easter eggers. I don't know if they have like a regular name that is their breed, but they're Easter eggers are the ones that lay the blue and green egg. And then I got 2 Wyandottes. But they're really cool looking chickens. I was looking at pictures. Wyandotte chicken. If I could just spell chicken. There we go. They're actually cool looking birds. So I think we're gonna end up with birds that look like this, because the chickens that I have, their little feathers look like they're brown and black, but they're really pretty. And they're supposed to lay good layers that lay cream colored eggs. So I've got a couple of these. That's a rooster. I think they're gonna end up looking something like this, because they're dark colored chickens. So I got 2 of those, and then I got 2 Easter eggers. And they're kind of golden looking, so I'm assuming they'll look something like this. I don't know. They're just kind of lighter colored chicks. They're not that light. I think they'll end up looking something like that, maybe. But they're cool. They seem to be really cool looking, so it's cool. It's different types of chickens than what we currently have in the flock. Our flock has been further diversified. You don't passively gain rights. You have to be a belligerent claimant according to a court ruling. Yeah, you have to claim your rights. You have to demand them, or they're not gonna give it to you, which was the point of the beginning of the stream. Absolutely. Damn it, I got a Berkey. That thing's like $500. Yeah, I'm telling you, I mean, I guess because I don't use one or I don't pay attention, I've never heard that the Berkeys, had issues. It's so strange. Usually Araucana. Yeah, that's right. We got some Easter egger, copper moran, and australorp. Ooh, australorps. I wouldn't mind getting some australorps. Ted, we should get I would love to get an australorp rooster. Let me just show you a picture to show you why. I think it'd be fun. Although I hope they're not jerks. Australorp rooster. Look at that. Look at that. That's a good looking rooster, man. Come on. Yeah, I want one of those. Look at that thing. It's like a Satan in chicken form. How cool are these chickens? I would not mind having an australorp rooster. I'm just saying. Can you special order roosters? Because I need a rooster. Australope, Rhode Island Red, and Easter Brown are the best layers. I've got 2 Rhode Island Reds. The Reds are mean, man. The Reds are mean. I used to have that rooster that we used to have. What was a Rhode Island Red rooster? He was a bastard. He was a mean bastard. Nice cock. It's a good looking cock. It is. It's a BBC. Did you see that? It's a BBC. Thank you for calling Coffee Talk. You're on with Karen B.
Hey, Karen. Good morning. It's William in California. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Are you able to hear me okay? I'm driving on I-5, so kind of doing what Dennis does.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, excellent. Hey, I just want to congratulate you. I wasn't able to call in on episode 400, but I did listen to it yesterday, so it was pretty good. So I wanted to shout out to Jan, because she kind of said something. And, just enjoyed it, and it seemed like you enjoyed it as well. So, yeah.
Cool.
Hello?
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. So hey, I was trying to think of a worthy question in light of that, and I hope you don't mind me talking about number 400. But looking back now, when you first started, you guys mentioned how you weren't really into it. So looking back now, are you really glad you did it? Did things happen that you didn't think would happen? Were you surprised about something? And obviously there probably was some, probably sucky things along the way, but would you be able to maybe encapsulate one of those things?
What do you mean? Like,
Hello?
I'm not sure I know what you're asking.
Well, looking back, when you took over for Patricia Steer, right? I forget what episode you guys mentioned. I'm just wondering, my question was, I'm sure you're glad you stuck it out. So was there anything that you were surprised along the journey that makes you very glad you did this, along with Mark Sargent, is what I'm going to ask.
Well, I just like doing it every Tuesday. It's fun. We talk to a lot of people. I like Mark, I like Mark. And I'll just say one thing, and I know you don't mean it this way, but I didn't take over for Patricia Steer. And I think it's funny that people phrase it that way. They're like, you took Patricia Spears. No, I didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough.
Somebody tried to say that I slipped into her spot or something. Like they called me I'm the shill who replaced Patricia Steer, but I didn't. Mark and Patricia were great friends. They did a lot of shows together, but she was never on Strange World as a co-host. They always did their own separate thing.
Oh, that's right. It was called Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes.
Yeah, well, that was Patricia's show. Patricia did Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. And then I guess she would do episodes with Mark where it was her and Mark doing Flat Earth. So I guess Mark used to be on her show, is how it used to be.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, it's all coming back now. It's hard to believe it's been that many years, though, right?
Yeah. Time goes by so fast.
Yeah, especially the last 3 years, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I want to shout out to Dennis. Was that him I heard? I just jumped on the road. I got a late start today. I'm headed up I-5 North. And was that Dennis I heard earlier?
Yeah.
Before I got on?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, shout out to Dennis. Not sure. I just got the tail end of that. Not sure if he's also on I-5, but that's where I'm at. Shout out to DITRH. I saw him in the chat before I took off. So I want to shout out to, man, it's been so long. Dave, right? David? Yes, David Weiss.
Yeah,
shout
David Weiss.
And, I think he's out there. Okay, well, I don't know what you've been talking about so far as I just jumped on the highway. But, I just wanted to say congratulations on episode 400. Shout out to Mark Sargent. I think he said he's been listening now lately. So shout out to Mark. And I'm sure Zulu 1 might be listening. I don't know. But if he's listening later, shout out to him anyway. And, I guess that's about it, Karen.
Yeah, cool.
All right, and good luck with the chickens. They're an adventure, aren't sure.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gold right now.
Yeah.
All right, man. All right. I'll talk to you later then.
All right.
God
Cheers.
bless.
Thanks for calling.
Oh, and I also like your Saturday night thing that you do. Your Saturday thing you do with Jack.
Oh yeah, the anti-religious scripture study.
Good work
Yeah.
there. Yes. Very good stuff. So, all right. Shout out to Jack too.
All
All
right.
right. I think that's it. I promise.
Okay. Cool. Thank
Bye.
you. William in California. Ted, that was overkill. Ben, you know what? The frustration that Rooster caused us for so long. It was like, dude, yeah, I think Ted was like ready. We used to chop their head off, yeah. Patricia is a lovely woman. Yeah. Ted's such a good guy. Pat denounced her flat earth belief system in an interview. Really? I never saw her do that. Saw or heard her do that. And as far as I knew, she was still around. Like, I had her on a Bitch's Brew a while back. I can't even remember how long ago that was now. It's got to be over a year. But, I mean, I don't know. As far as I know, she hasn't denounced her flat earth beliefs. So... Ted went mafia on the... He did. He totally went mafia on the Rooster. Ted and I were like two sickos that day. You should have seen what we were doing. Processing the Rooster, ripping its feathers out. I did process it though. Well, then I don't know. I wouldn't believe it. I haven't seen it, so I wouldn't believe it. Patricia was always really cool to me, you know? Like, I never had any problems with Patricia. I never understood why people attacked her so bad. Patricia was really cool, and she's definitely not a dude. She's smaller than me. She's more petite than me. I mean, there's just no way she's a dude. There's no fucking way. Plug it with a nugget. Cammy, that's funny. Yeah, but you know what we did? We went and tied his legs up. We had him hung upside down. Yeah. Yeah, so, you know. But he was hurting the hens. He was hurting the hens. Like, his spurs, man, he had cut some of those hens wide open. So we had to get rid of the Rooster because he was not taking good care of his hens. So, or maybe I need to learn how to cut those spurs off. Can you cut them damn things off or do something with those things? God, those things are gnarly. Oh yeah, David and Patricia did streams a long time ago, back in the day. Man, I remember, this is how long, you know how long I've been in Flat Earth? I've been in Flat Earth so long that I remember watching streams with David Weiss, Patricia Steer, Nathan Oakley, Antonio Subarats, all in the same shit. Is Patricia still vegan as far as I know? You twist the spur off? Clip the spurs? You guys are gonna have to tell me how to do that. Good rooster's hard to find. I know. Doesn't hurt them if you clip it, it bleeds. That's what we need to do. Anyway, is this a real picture or is this AI? I don't know anymore, you guys. Like, there's so many AI pictures. I gotta know. I don't even know if this is real or not. This is Mark Zuckerberg, supposedly. How weird is this picture? Mark Zoolander. Just so weird. I remember those old streams too. Remember that, Dave? We did Skype calls together. I know! Nora says, I remember watching stream with John LeBon and DITRH. That's so funny. That one guest Patricia had on in costume. Can't remember his name. Yeah, the dude who was dressed up like a weird, like, superhero. That was like one of our early interviews too. It was very early. And you know what? My interview that I did on there is gone because I never downloaded it to save it. And then she shut down her channel and it's just gone. I was always watching ODD and Skiba. Yeah. Hey, you. Local Humane Society for roosters, huh? I'll have to check that out. I have to check that out because we do need a rooster because one of our chickens was assassinated in the pen and it probably wouldn't have happened if we'd had a rooster watching over them. I mean, the other rooster we had, he was a dick, but he was a good protector. I mean, he was crazy. I remember looking out the window one day and I seen my rooster chasing a turkey down the driveway. It was hilarious. That time you guys called NASA. Yeah, rest in peace, Rob Skiba. Rob Skiba was one of my favorites because I found him very early on when I had first got into Flat Earth and he was doing the whole investigating the globe thing, right? Where he was looking at it with a very, very analytical point of view and he ended up, you know, on the side of truth, just like the rest of us here did, knowing that the Earth is not a globe. But I really, really loved his analytical view. And, you know, like people show the pictures of the moon, the different moon pictures, and they're like, oh, this is fake because look at the moon here and then look at the moon there. But he did a really good video debunking that and explaining that that's how camera angles work when you're like, you know, the depth perception of a camera, these differences, like those, you know, some things look funky, but they're not sort of thing. You know, and he was good at finding the difference between the legitimate globe Earth faults, you know, the legitimate ways to debunk the globe and the ways that are like not so great, like looking at pictures from the moon. I mean, not the moon landing. The moon landing pictures are great, but I mean like the lunar pictures, like the picture, the proportion of seeing the Earth over the moon versus, you know, looking at the lunar orb, whatever that camera is that's like at the Lagrange point that watches the moon going across the Earth where the Earth is big and the moon is small again. Like these different types of proportions are not, you know, they're horrible arguments for flat Earth. And he was really good about honing in on the arguments that were good versus the arguments that were not so good. I mean, because of him, we know about atmospheric lensing and what a mirage is supposed to be, you know, which was further expanded upon by Dr. John and all the stuff that he did in his videos. A lot of those videos I did narration for. So, you know, we've come a long way. We've learned a lot over the years. I know that I've learned way more over the last 5, 6, 7 years than I ever did, you know, in school. I feel like I would have never got this education in college. I feel like the knowledge that I've gained just by looking for truth is like exponentially better and more valuable than anything, you know, I was ever force fed in school. So my favorite is when the module shoots off from the moon. Yeah, that one is a good one because it looks like freaking fireworks. Yeah. Oh, cheers. Thank you, David, for the super chip. Or super chat. Super chip. Cheers, David Kahn. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Government selling off Bitcoin. Interesting. This is school. Exactly. The time that we spend together, asking questions, having discussions, it's the best. The Michelson-Morley experiments are a hard one for people to understand for some reason. Maybe I don't explain it well enough. It is hard because that is a difficult one to explain. Right now I don't even know that I could explain it very well because I just don't, you know, practice that monologue, you know. But when I watch it or when I look at stuff, I understand it. But I just can't. I'm not very good at explaining that particular thing. Maybe that's something I should learn to do. Right? Because they say that, or they call it like, or one of the ones that makes it really confusing is Ari's failure. Plain geodesy heliocentrism refuted, the Airy experiment. I think this is the one where they talk about refraction. Initially describes a conceptual basis for determining the translational motion of a refracting medium, in this case water, of a water-filled telescope by means of light aberration. So this is the one where they... Isn't this the one where they tried to prove the ether didn't exist, but instead it proved that it did exist, and they called it Ari's failure to make it sound like the experiment was failed, but it didn't fail. It just failed to disprove the ether, if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, because I'm not good at this stuff. This is something I need to look at more revisit. And get a better grasp of myself. Aries fairy. Lorenz is a douche. They cracked down on flat earthers in the same way back then. There's a lot of I've actually found a lot of old news articles that talk about this. The flat earth was heavily refuted until very recently, or globe earth was heavily refuted until very recently. There was that man named Voliva who lived in Zion, Illinois, which now is just, it's Zion, or it was called Zion City, and I think now it's just called Zion. But he had a church where he taught the flat earth. He had flat earth taught in the schools. And this is like in the early 1900s. So, yeah. Ari proved Sky was moving, not us. Ari on a... trying to determine whether it was the Earth or Sky turning, right? But that has to do with the ether, right? Okay, you guys, I need to take a small break, okay? I'll be right back. Alrighty. And we're back. It's 12:40 p.m. already. Which documentary, YouTube? I did get a strike for that documentary the other night. Got me on hate speech. Dude, the chat GPT thing is creepy. Super creepy. Fauci has 24/7 security and gets death threats. Well, maybe you deserve it. Reality is a debate. It was about an event in the conflict of 1939 to 1945. Oh. World War II. Yeah. Yeah, I can see the draw of people wanting to play with AI, but I feel like the more that we play with AI, the more it knows. You know what I'm saying? It's machine learning from you. Every time you use AI, you're teaching it to interact with humans better. I mean, that's just what it is. So, but I know why people want to use it, and and it's going to be used. It's going to be in everything. Like it already is. We already saw employees, workers being replaced by, kiosks and stuff inside of these fast food restaurants. Some of these fast food restaurants. It's going to get to the point where, for these like low level jobs, you just don't need people anymore. Everything is either AI or robots. I mean, look at Brian. Brian was telling me he was hanging out in Charlotte yesterday, and there was robots driving around on the sidewalk, and then he looked it up and it was coffee robots. Let me see if I can find it. And Tiny Mile to test robots for coffee. Okay? So he says they're just driving around, and this is it. He said it's a little pink robot. And you can buy coffee from it. It's just driving around the city. Isn't that crazy? So these things are driving around giving coffee at this area in Charlotte. Each robot is remotely controlled by a human navigator. Oh, okay. Has 360-degree camera views and sensors for safety and security. So there's a navigator driving but that's just so weird.
Charlotte is undergoing a revolution of sorts, a robotic revolution. You may have seen those little pink robots tooling around uptown in Plaza Midwood. Well, today we're going to learning a lot more about them when the city of Charlotte and the company behind those robots get together to tell us the story behind them. And our Sharon Hayes is live in Plaza Midwood right now with more on those little helpers. So Sharon, what are those robots all about?
Well, council members here today said that, yes, it is April Fool's Day, but these little pink robots that you've been saying are not a joke. In fact, they're here to make your life and the life of local business owners just a little bit easier by adding yet another way for you to get your meals or coffee delivered straight to you. Now, it is part of a 2-month pilot program. The robots are a brainchild of a Canadian company called Tiny Mile. Now, they pick up and deliver goods through apps like DoorDash and Uber Eats. They're nicknamed Joffrey, and they navigate the sidewalks around the neighborhood. Now, a big draw, other than the novelty, of course, is their eco-friendliness by reducing the carbon footprint. And for small business owners like with Nearby Undercurrent Coffee, they say it helps ease that financial
Are they delivery robots? Okay, so I see. They're not... You don't make coffee, but they deliver the coffee. So they get the coffee somewhere, and then they load up the robot, and then the robot delivers the coffee. I guess. Is that what I'm seeing here?
Exploring this new, neat way to engage their customers.
Instead of investing in an automobile and full-time human beings, you have smaller robots doing a similar service. Yeah. And it might seem less efficient at first, but that's part of what we're doing now is going through the evolution of this to figure out the way to make it an economically viable.
We got to provide the authorization, right? They'll be using the city sidewalks, and so certainly making sure that everyone is aware of what's happening in terms of a regulatory perspective.
Now, Tiny Mile charges $1 per kilometer. That's a little over half a mile, and it takes about 15 minutes for Joffrey to cover that amount of space.
15 minutes? Oh my god, this seems highly inefficient. I mean, just go get your freaking... Why don't they just have like those little coffee vendors on the corner or whatever, like the little... 15 minutes to get your coffee? So you order your coffee, and it takes 15 minutes for it to get to you. Is your coffee still hot by the time it gets to you? Like, how ridiculous. Hi, sex robot. Go make me a sandwich. Reminds me of Wall-E, where everyone on the spaceship got fat and lazy, and this is beginning of that. Right? Like keeping everybody in their 15-minute cities so you don't ever actually have to go anywhere far or exert any like actual energy, or you're just gonna be floating, everybody's just gonna be floating around on their little fat wheelchairs. Totally. Russia is anti-Wall Street and Washington White House not anti-Americans. Right? See, the governments are the problem. I mean, let's just be real. The person working on the robot could have jogged over faster, right? 15 minutes to go half a mile. I mean, if it takes you 15 minutes to go half a mile, you're walking kind of slow, if you ask me. At hospitals, there's a robot that delivers meds to each floor from the pharmacy, even uses the elevator by itself. That's crazy. Yeah, so, and then, like Russia today, what was that with the AI weather girl? Let me see if I can find that. Russian TV channel introduces AI weather girl. So this is, we were talking about this on Strange World too. So they're starting to introduce AI robot weather girls.
Анна Туманова. Меня создала нейросеть, и теперь я буду рассказывать вам о погоде в Ставропольском крае.
Oh, that's so creepy. It's so creepy. Kick the shit out of those things. They're all already trying those 15-minute zones in England, and you get fined if you exceed it? Really, Nora? Here's an article from November 11th, 2021. The 15-minute city meets human needs but leaves desires wanting. Here's why. This is on the World Economic Forum website. The 15-minute city aims to reorganize human space around work, home, community, and amenities. The idea is that every need is fulfilled within a 15-minute walk or short bike ride. Various cities around the world have begun to embrace the 15-minute city approach. But urban life is about more than access to amenities, and the 15-minute model risks excluding disadvantaged communities. Even if there's a 15-minute baseline, great city centers and world-class experiences should remain accessible to all. Yeah, duh. Does anybody see anything wrong with this sentence? One of the biggest urban ideas to emerge from the pandemic is the idea of a 15-minute city or 15-minute neighborhood developed by a French urbanist, Carlos Moreno. I never met no French dude named Carlos Moreno. I probably knew about 50 Mexicans named Carlos Moreno when I was growing up in California, but a French person named Carlos Moreno? That's just weird. And they do it with Ulas in London. Yeah. Trial run just to see how people take it. I mean, it's ridiculous. Paris aims to be a... Oh boy, Paris. You know, Paris has been having lots of riots lately. I mean, that place has just been trashed. I don't know if you guys have seen that lately. France is a mess. They're just kicking people. They're just running through, just beating people. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Shit's crazy, right? This is from the 12th. This was a couple of weeks ago. Brutal. France, do they have guns? I think I lost my voicemail. Let me call it again. Disconnected me from my phones again.
Welcome to the conference center. There is one party in the conference. You are a host.
So that's in. Then there's this one I watched. This one's horrible right here. Let me see if I can get this one up. He goes up and he just beats this woman for no reason. Smacks her with the baton. Starts smacking her in the head. I mean, it's crazy, dude. It's crazy. So here's another big, large-scale protest that they were doing. And apparently it's about the Macron, the French president, is trying to raise the retirement age when you can, from 62 to 64. Supposedly that's what it's all about. And if that really is what it's about, I don't understand why do we Americans not do this shit when they raise our retirement age? I mean, what's the retirement age in America? Because they want to enslave you until you fucking drop over dead, right? So what is this? Retirement age in America. The current full retirement age is 67 years old. 67. And this is France getting all pissed because they're raising it from 62 to 64. And here's what I want to know. Why do we not do this shit in America when they try to, when they do this shit to us? You know what I'm saying? We should have been doing this over and over. How many times have they raised the retirement age here in America? So now we can't collect benefits until we're 67? It's bullshit, man. 65, 67, exactly. Protests had highly organized protests and riots back in the 80s, and people treated like the people treated like war, having communication lines and strategies to fight police, blah, blah, blah. People don't organize. It's true. It's true. Very disorganized. People are very disjointed. And you know how that was achieved? By all of the separation, the division of all the many, many different, levels of division that have been instilled in the psyche of the masses by our propagandist government, right? Like think of all the different things that people are divided on. Red versus blue, black versus white, Coke versus Pepsi, sports teams, anything. And now this whole gender thing, right versus left, all that crap. Like the division has been sown on every single level. And so people are so divided on these stupid, meaningless things that really have nothing to do, that really don't matter for fuck all in the grand scheme of things. And so based on those stupid, meaningless divisions, it makes it harder for people to work together in unison against an oppressive government. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of why people don't fight like that here. America is a very huge country. There's 50 different states, and every state is getting a different feed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what the news looks like, in Kansas versus fucking Colorado or Utah or Arkansas or Oklahoma. Like, I don't watch all of these different news markets and what they're being told, right? So how do we know that? I mean, we all know the basic, blanket propaganda that gets put out across all the news stations, right? But then below that, aside from that, or weaved inside of that, they have to be sending different messages to even these different markets in different states, right? And how would we even know if they were? So, by design, exactly. Must spend your 401k by a certain age or they take it. See, the government is fleecing Americans for all their money, like illegally, unconstitutionally, And that was why I wanted to talk about this woman so much today. And what I'm probably going to do is go through a bunch of her videos, and I'm probably going to chop them up into like little sound bites, that I can play in like a compressed version, because she really, really outlines exactly what's been going on. She mentions things that I've not heard mentioned before, like Metro 1313, the head of the beast. How many of you have heard of this? Metro 1313, the head of the beast. I think I need to move out of the Netherlands in near the future, but to where? Well, see, that's just it, Stephanie. Isn't it shitty, like how people feel compelled to move out of their homeland where they were born and raised? I mean, you were born and raised on that land. I mean, you have just a right, as big of a right to be there as anybody else, right? And so now they've oppressed people so much, and they are so tyrannical that people are like, man, I got to get out of my own country to escape this tyrannical government. But it's like, where does it end? Right? So if we run to another place, how do you know that place isn't going to get taken over by the banksters eventually? And then that becomes an oppressed place, and then you got to leave there. Well, then where do you go? You know what I'm saying? We have to get out of that mindset, I need to leave. What we need to do, especially in this country, now I don't know how easy it would be in other countries, but in America, I feel like we have enough people here, and that, we have the very good chance, if we get enough people together and demand that they stop this crap and kick out the Fed, first of all, and the Federal Reserve, right? Which is neither federal nor a reserve, with their bullshit toilet paper money, paper money that they make all of us use, and then go back to using a U.S. Treasury issued currency, which is how it's supposed to be. And we're not supposed to be paying debt or interest on all the money, like living in debt like this and paying perpetual interest that can never be paid back. And the interest that doesn't even go, it doesn't go to running the country. It just goes into interest and taxes. It just goes into the hands of the bakers. So the bakers get rich and richer, and then they use that money to manipulate other world markets. And just, it's like a vicious cycle. And we just have to, we have to recognize what's happening and learn how to take our power back. And so that's what's up. That's what I'm all about. They own every country, right? Like, we can't run forever. And yes, Ben, quit relying on government, And this goes back to taking your children out of public school and doing homeschooling and teaching them to be independent, critical thinkers. And that they don't, because what do they learn in these state indoctrination camps? They learn that they have to trust the government or believe in the government. Or, they're told to be good taxpayers, good little robots. Do what you're told. Regurgitate. You know what I'm saying? That's where it starts. And the cults, how cults are. The cults always target children. And so they have managed to trick, all of us unsuspecting mothers and parents to hand over our children to the care of the state to be brainwashed into becoming good little statist debt slaves. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm fucking tired of that bullshit. That shit's gotta end. If anyone here has not seen Aaron Russo's Freedom to Fascism, they should stop now and watch. Yeah. I think the retirement age is going to be 70 years of age pretty soon, right? I mean, and think about it, like, that's old, man, to be retired. Like, why do people need to work that long? It's ridiculous. People live to work instead of work to live. This is fucked up. We gotta undo it. Thunder Chicken, are you with Rose and Jason? Awesome. So we can be fulfilled in a cubicle. Exactly. It is the duty of the patriot to protect his country from its government. Thomas Paine. Exactly. 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 So anyway, this Metro 1313, I haven't read all about this yet, but maybe this is something else you guys can look into if you're interested in looking like how we got here, which I think it's important to look at how we got here because that's going to tell us how we get out of it. And once you have an understanding of the deception, the depths of the deception and how they did it, that's exactly how you're going to be able to get out of it. So, this Metro 1313, there's a PDF you can find. I guess, is this just chapter 1? The people shall prevail. But basically, Metro 1313 is a corporation that they use to pull off some of their shenanigans. But like I said, I haven't really read into it very much. But I mean, I never even heard of Metro 1313 before now. So I'm going to be looking into that. And I'll probably be binge watching her videos. Cammy says my father died at 62, right? Like, then you don't even get to enjoy your retirement. I mean, it's a crime. It's a fucking crime. You know, people's lives are being stolen. That's what I'm seeing, is people's entire lives are being stolen, hijacked, commandeered by the beast. You know, there's a better way. There's got to be a better way. It's basically caused by the retirement funds being used to gain money in the stock exchange, right? Because like this woman was saying, like the Social Security and all that stuff, it's not being used. Whenever you give money over to the government, they never use it for what they're saying they're using it for. So I live for a living, yeah. All right, you guys, it's after 1 p.m. We have been going for 3.5 hours. I think I'm going to wrap up this Friday edition of Coffee Talk, and I do appreciate you all being here with me, and listening to this video with me and revisiting this stuff, because I think it's very important. This is, like I said, this is the type of stuff that I was very, very interested in before I found Flat Earth. Of course, I found Flat Earth to be all enthralling and ever important. And once I got through that, now on the other side of it, now it's time to go, now that we've identified all the problems, now it's time to go back and start working on solutions, right? I really want to be part of the solution and rebuilding, a better, freer world for all of us, right? Like I am frightened right now, worried to death about the type of world that my children are going to inherit when they become adults. So I feel like it's part of, it's my responsibility as a parent to try to work on that and to make it so that they don't inherit a worse situation than I did, right? Because it's been getting worse. There's no denying that things have been getting worse. So it's really, really time that we start taking this stuff back and taking it seriously. So anyways, I hope that you all enjoyed that information, and we'll be talking about it more as time goes on. So yeah, you can join me and Just Jack tomorrow for anti-religious scripture study at 11:11, and also I'll be back for Moon Day Coffee Talk at 9:30 a.m. At this channel. And then, of course, Strange World with Mark Sargent every Tuesday at 10 p.m. as usual, because Mark's awesome. He's my friend. And it's fun. Strange World is fun. It's my late night. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all of you participating in chat, all the calls and the tips. I appreciate your support. And remember, baby, Vegas. So I still can't release details yet, but very soon. Just keep your eyes peeled, and I will make sure to put it on blast as soon as I know everything, so that you guys are able to, do whatever you got to do and make your plans. All right, you guys, have a wonderful weekend. And for those who wish to send me stuff through snail mail, you can send it to P.O. Box 10, Earl, North Carolina, 28038. There are also links below for Flat Earth merch, and you can send me donations, and I do appreciate all the support. Sincerely, thank you very much. Also, please go to flatearthfestivals.com for all information about upcoming Flattoberfests and Flat Earth friendly local meetups. If you are organizing a local Flat Earth meetup, email me at flatearthfestivals@protonmail.com with your meetup information to have it listed on the website for free. For everything else, you can email me at karenbfe@protonmail.com. Thank you for being here.